debate
You've
is where
done nothing but waste my time, T.
a debate is where
So let's go on with this debate.
A debate is where two people take up opposing positions on a topic.
I am taking an opposing.
I go hard in the paint, yeah, homie, I'm a saint. Ride or die. Many claim they like riding, but I know that they ain't. Ride or die.
What just happened?
I go hard in the paint, yeah, homie, I'm a saint. Ride or die. Many claim they like riding, but I know that they ain't. They see the red and they call me a devil, but mind the treble, let me level with you. I used to idolize rappers that paint they face, but now I rock the blood of Christ ever since I've been saved by grace.
What just happened?
Alrighty, so I went ahead and kicked us live because even if we don't have a debate, they'll get to hear you guys argue about this for a little bit.
Silly.
So
what I was
either
saying
get
was
into
a debate
at some
is
point, or this will be it. Guys, welcome, like, subscribe. The debate has hit a small hiccup. We're going to let these guys go at it for a moment. We may or may not have a debate.
What I was saying was a debate is where two people take up opposing sides of a specific topic. In this case, I've agreed, and I have a screenshot of your agreements.
Pardon, is this your opening statement?
On the debate and on the topic. So if you wish to change the topic, please let me know.
Is this your opening statement? I'm just curious.
No, I'm asking if you want to change the topic.
Then I'll be happy to give my opening statement.
On what topic?
And what?
On what topic? What is your position on the topic? What is the topic? And
here's James. Let me know when my 10 minutes begins.
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. I want to know what the topic is, Eric, of the debate.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I originally challenged
wasn't ladies and gentlemen. I'm asking you a
debate regarding abiogenesis.
No, sorry, Eric. I wasn't asking you. I was asking you a question, Eric.
And which of the two between abiogenesis and biogenesis?
Eric, I was just asking you a
question.
Is
best represented in what we observe today.
Eric, nobody can hear you.
That was the question.
Eric, no, that wasn't the question. That wasn't the question at all, right?
Yes, he would debate me on that question.
No, I did not.
And then he said
that I agreed.
Then he insisted that we change the title from abiogenesis versus biogenesis to this.
No, that's not.
He wanted us to ask. This is the question that T asks, and I quote:
"That's not what happened.
Do chemicals?
No, that's not what
question.
happened.
Is this the question you wanted to debate, T, or not?
It's ridiculous.
T.
It's not even close to what happened.
The question you want to debate.
The topic of debate is, Eric. That's all.
Yeah, read it for us. Go
ahead. What would you like to debate, Eric?
I'm telling everybody what you wanted to.
No. What would you like to debate, Eric?
Well, the subject that is in the title there, abiogenesis versus biogenesis.
Sorry, what is the topic of debate?
Which of the two is best represented by what we actually observe today in nature?
Okay.
Now, T wanted to shoot that down.
No, sorry, I haven't gotten clarity on that topic, right?
T wanted to change that question to: do chemicals fall into lower
No, that's not what I said. That's not what happened, Eric. I'm
creating more complex. Oh,
Eric,
that's not what you want to debate.
Topic, if you would like, right?
That's not what you decided to change the debate to.
If you would like, I just need clarity on what the topic.
Okay, well, let's read what you said.
No, let's debate the topic.
Let's read what you said.
No, let's debate the topic you want to debate, Eric.
Okay, if you don't even want the reader to know what
I want you to debate the topic that you want to debate, Eric. No, I want you to debate the topic you want to debate.
Okay.
What is the topic?
Biogenesis versus abiogenesis, and which of the two is best represented? Which of the two more closely resembles what we view in nature today?
Okay, what do you mean by that?
You don't know?
No, I don't know. Can you just tell me what you mean by that? I don't know what you mean.
Yes, that means that we can observe natural facts today. For instance, we observe that only life brings forth life. We don't observe life coming forth.
I don't know what that means, that only life.
I'm sure you don't. But we don't observe life coming forth any other way, do we?
No, it's not.
That's the only way that we observe life coming forth is through another life.
Yeah, but that's not
abiogenesis. Abiogenesis.
But that's not abiogenesis, Eric.
All of the abiogenesis tells us that all of the building blocks for life can form naturally.
Well, they do, Eric. We see that now.
The cell doesn't form naturally.
Of course it does, Eric.
Show us one.
No, I don't have to show you one. I can explain.
You can't, because cells do not form naturally. I was going to
explain to you.
The only way a cell forms, dude, is through mitosis.
I was going to explain to you how one forms. you're interested.
Okay, go ahead. Tell us how abiogenesis created a cell that
I didn't say anything
fell
about
together.
abiogenesis creating anything, Eric.
Okay, so then it doesn't happen, does it?
No, I didn't say anything about that, Eric. I said I was.
It doesn't happen at all.
No, I said I was going to explain how it's.
So here's the question T wanted to ask: do chemicals fall into lower energy states, creating more complex macromolecules?
Right, because that's the
which are selected by their environment for their functions, leading to an ever-increasing complexity, eventually resulting in complex chemical systems.
That's now, the research program. Right?
If you look at what T wrote in his notes, he says, "I will take the affirmative, and Eric will take the negative."
Right.
Now, Eric would never take the negative because I want to tell you guys
bring it on. You said bring it on.
I'm going to tell you
bring it on. You said bring it on.
I told
you said bring it on.
That that's not even
right after that. You said
that's not even abiogenesis.
Right after that, you said bring it on.
That is just
right
one
after that. You said bring it on. Right after that, you said bring it on.
That's just
bring it
one
on.
step in the process.
I have it right here in the screenshot.
So you can't let a man.
I have it right here in the screenshot. You said bring it on. Right. Right here.
I also told James that
bring it on. You said bring it on.
To that debate,
question, right?
You are doing so with the understanding that we are talking about
bring it on, right?
Abiogenesis.
You said bring it on. You're going to take the negative. Bring it on.
You guys are making a fool of yourself here. Trying to have a discussion. The constant interrupting. Nobody can understand anything. Why don't you guys talk one at a time?
Thank you. James, you should be giving us our turns, dude, and letting us speak uninterrupted.
Yeah, we haven't agreed on a topic, though.
Well, right now we have to get the hammered stuff out so you guys can decide if you're having a debate or not, or if this will just
be... why don't you start out giving us time so that...
No, we're going to agree upon a topic first.
You see, T does not want us to have time.
No, I want us to have a debate on a topic.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. What's
so,
the topic?
James, take control of this like a moderator, brother.
Go ahead. What's the topic,
and just give us our time.
Yes, give us our topic and then our time.
Give us our time and let
give us our topic and then our time. What is the topic of debate?
Let me know when I can open, brother.
When you give me the topic of debate, you can open.
T said he didn't want an open.
Just give me the topic of debate.
A 10-minute open.
Yes, give me
I think it's highly unusual that he doesn't have 10 minutes worth to give an opening.
Of course I do. That's not the problem.
No, you don't.
Of course I do.
So,
not
James, please give us our time so that
what
we can speak to these people in a rational way.
Sorry, Eric. What is the topic of debate?
I leave it to you, James, to take control, brother.
You don't know, do you? Gosh, it's kind of sad. You don't even know the topic.
I can't speak as long as he's speaking, James.
Eric, what is it that you want to debate? Just tell me. Then we can debate that.
It's right there on the screen, right there in the title. What are we going to debate?
What is it?
So let's debate it.
What is it you want to debate, Eric?
Abiogenesis versus biogenesis. So what are we going to debate?
That's not a question.
Okay. Then which of the two more closely resembles the facts in nature we see today?
Okay. Regarding what? What facts?
What facts? Well, you figure it out. You're supposed to be defending abiogenesis,
right?
Telling me what facts abiogenesis more closely resembles today. And I'm going to tell you what biogenesis more closely resembles today.
Okay, I can tell you that. Biogenesis resembles like me coming from my parents, right?
That's not all it resembles. It resembles life. It says that only life comes from life.
That's just what it resembles, right?
No, that's what it says. That's what it resembles. That is the process of
the process by which I came from my parents. That's biogenesis.
Let me read this to everybody.
Yeah, the process by which things come from. I came from my parents. That's biogenesis. We're obviously not talking about that. We're talking about abiogenesis, right? The process by which life comes from non-life. That's what we're interested in, right?
We're talking biogenesis.
The
idea that life only comes from life.
Let's talk about biogenesis.
Life only comes from life.
Debate on biogenesis.
James, are you going to take control or not, buddy?
What is the topic of debate, Eric?
You've already had one complaint here from Ron, and I agree with him.
What is the topic of debate?
I will jump in and take control as agreed upon when you guys agree that the debate is ready to go, and I can mod that. But as far as this argument, I've tried to get people not to talk over each other, but you guys have to agree when or if you're still going to have a debate.
Well, you see, if you want people,
I'm in.
If you want people to not overtalk one another, James, you are simply going to have to give us time. Okay, you're going to have to give T time to speak, and then give me time to speak, because he's just sitting there taking all the time that he wants when he said he wasn't even going to take an over.
Yes,
I just want to know the topic. That's all.
As promised, I commit to doing that when you guys actually agree that you're ready to start a debate.
Yeah, as soon as
I'm ready.
As soon as we get the topic, I'm ready.
I'm ready. The topic will be the title of this program, and I will.
But I don't know what the topic is.
I will also tackle your question.
Well, as soon as you give me the topic, and we're good to go.
Well, we just did.
No, you didn't. What's the topic?
So you don't want me to talk about both.
Just tell me what the topic is.
You're afraid, dude. I'm not a 5-year-old, and I'm not going to play a 5-year-old
Tell me
game.
the topic, Eric.
James, I'm ready for the debate if you are.
If you tell me the topic, I am too.
We already did.
What was it?
I already told you that. How many times do you want me to answer that?
Just tell me the question that we're going to answer, and the sides, right?
I already told you that.
Which is what?
I already told you that.
You said biogenesis, which is
said that in the process of all that,
that's not a question, Eric.
I will also tackle your question.
But that's not a question, Eric. Biogenesis is me coming from my parents. It's not a question.
Biogenesis.
Yeah, me coming from my parents. Not a question.
That includes that.
Yeah, that's not a question.
That is not that in itself.
That's the
Biogenesis states that everything comes from a previous life.
States. That's the process being described, right?
All life comes from a previous life.
That's just the process being described, is how life comes from other life.
Yeah. Now, if you extrapolate back,
so are we talking about abiogenesis? The process about
James,
how life comes from non-life? Is that what you want to talk about? Abiogenesis? Or do you want to talk about biogenesis? How I came from my parents? Which do you want to talk about?
This is supposed to tackle both.
What do you mean? What's the question?
I can't help it if you're not going to do it.
No, just tell me what the question is.
James, quit this farce, dude.
Oh my God.
Either put this thing in line and get him in line.
If you just tell me what the topic is, I'm good to go.
Just stop wasting everybody's time.
If you tell me what the topic is, I'm good to go.
We already did.
No, you didn't. I don't know what the topic is.
James, did I not say that I was going to take abiogenesis versus biogenesis?
To answer a question from the chat, that is a Sting doll behind me. All right, are we closer to being able to get a debate going, guys?
As soon as he tells me the topic, we're good to go.
Because I think that you guys could flush. I really think too that you could flush and explain that out in your questions in the open dialogue.
I don't know what we're talking about though.
He knows that he doesn't have a winning case here, and he's embarrassed himself already.
No, that's not the case.
So let's go, James.
I'm just asking what the topic. No, I'm going to ask again.
I am tired of wasting my time and everybody else's.
James, can you tell me what the topic is? Can anyone tell me what the topic is?
It's in the title, dude.
No, that's not a question.
It's a title and it is a topic.
It's not a question though.
It is a topic.
It's not a question.
It is a topic, sir.
It's not a question.
Yeah,
I don't care.
When I haven't done very many live streams, any little view helps to build that up. So, yes, I'm streaming this pre-fight that might not end in an actual debate.
It's not a question.
You see, the debate should have started a half an hour ago, and I should have had my 10-minute opener.
Now,
I should have had my 10-minute opener.
Here, let me try this instead, right? Eric, would you like to have a discussion?
I'm tired of you talking and wasting my time. James, are you going to handle this?
Eric, would you like
I'm asking you, James, are you going to handle this and get this debate started?
Eric, would you like to have a discussion?
I am asking James if he's going to get this started.
Eric, would you like to have a discussion about biogenesis and abiogenesis and the different, how they relate to biology? Would you like to have a discussion about that? We can do that right now.
If you don't want to have the debate, T, run along, dude.
I don't know what the topic is.
Well, I've stated it 3 times.
No, you haven't. You haven't given me a question.
Ron, do you understand the topic?
Ron, can you tell me what the question is that we're debating here?
T, honestly, he mentioned it 3 or 4 times, like I said, and you know the difference in this, and I think you're dishonest now.
Okay, so hold on, Ron.
Listen, he told you what he wanted to talk about. It was very
right.
easy.
Okay,
Everybody
Ron.
understood it. Just talk about it.
Ron. Didn't I just
there
say
you have
another
another opinion? Now, James, can we
Ron,
please
didn't
get
I
this
just
started?
say, Ron? Didn't I just say we could have a discussion about it? Didn't I just say that? Didn't I just get finished saying, Eric, would you like to have a discussion about biogenesis and abiogenesis and how they relate to biology?
Too many times
because
now.
I'm happy to have that discussion. Would you like to have that discussion, Eric, if you don't have a topic of debate?
James, are we going to begin our debate, buddy?
You don't have a topic of debate, so we
guys,
can have
I'm happy to start the debate whenever both debaters agree to debate. But if not,
but we don't have a topic, right?
So the only one not agreeing to debate is T.
You don't have a topic for me to debate.
I just named it.
No, you didn't.
I certainly did.
No, you didn't.
Ron just verified that I did.
No, he said we could have a discussion about it, and I agreed.
He also said you're being very dishonest right now. And
no, I don't care I don't care about that. I'm agreeing to a discussion if that's what you want to have.
Okay, then let's have that debate.
Let's just have that discussion, right?
So you don't want the debate?
No, you don't have a topic to debate.
Okay, yeah. So everybody understands the topic that I want to debate is...
I don't know what the topic is. Tell me what the question is.
Abiogenesis versus biogenesis, and which of the two most closely represents the facts in nature that we spot today, such as everything brings forth after its own
biogenesis,
and in its own
likeness. Biogenesis. I came from my parents. Biogenesis. I came from my parents.
Waste everybody's time with
biogenesis. I came from my parents.
James, right? James tired. You have the options to mute people when other people are talking, because I think you should start doing that, because the interrupting is just being too crazy.
So I am as a mod willing to mod the debate as I agreed to.
We don't have a topic
when necessary, but right now we don't have a topic. So Ron and
James, how can you say we don't have a topic?
Because we don't have a question.
The question is, which of the two more closely resembles
biogenesis? Biogenesis.
So you concede that?
Yes.
End of debate. Thank you.
It's not a debate.
Much.
It's not a debate.
It ain't no more.
You just conceded. Which I answered. That's all.
Thank you, James. I'm done.
Okay, so we know. So you don't have a topic of debate, right?
If you want me to read what his question meant,
so you don't have a topic of debate, right?
Now that he just conceded the actual debate, James.
No, I didn't concede the debate. There was no debate.
I
just answered a question. That's all.
I'm going to read something to you, James.
No, don't read. No. We're not doing this. We're not
I wrote, hey guys.
No, you're not going to grandstand because you don't have a topic.
I wanted you to understand.
No, we're not going to grandstand because you don't have a topic of debate.
I wanted you to understand what T is doing.
Come up with a topic of debate.
You see him saying,
come up with a topic of debate. Don't just grandstand.
I don't know the
come up with a topic of debate.
And then pasting the pic.
Come up with a topic of debate. Come up with a topic of debate, Eric. Come up with a topic of debate.
I challenged him.
Come up with a topic of debate.
Biogenesis.
Come up with a topic of debate, Eric. Come on, Eric. Where's that topic of debate? Where's that topic of debate?
But he keeps insisting.
Where is it, Eric? Let's get that topic. You don't want to debate the topic I want, so what do you want to do?
Is this
what topic do you want to debate, Eric? You don't want to debate the topic I want to debate, so what topic do you want to debate, Eric?
Is this really the level of maturity you want to show off?
I'm asking you a question that you're refusing to answer.
I'm just laughing at this point.
What topic do you want to debate, Eric?
T has absolutely embarrassed himself, James, and made a mockery of your channel.
I'm happy to provide any definitions.
Waste of your time
of life.
He's wasted my time. He's wasted the audience time.
What topic you want to debate? That's all.
James, take control or don't, buddy. It's up to you.
Yeah, James, can I get a topic of debate here?
We definitely have a formal agreement for me to moderate a debate, but we ended up falling into this pre-debate discussion and argument over what is a debate, if we're going to debate. So until I can get you guys to come to some agreement, we're kind of starting this. At least the audience can see that. And if not,
I'm in agreement, James. I will debate his topic along with mine.
Except you won't take except you'll take my position on the topic, right?
What? I'm not going to say that.
Well, that's not a debate then.
I'm not going to say that one step doesn't happen.
That's not a debate then.
But that one step in and of itself is not abiogenesis.
Okay, so then you want to have a different topic.
No, I'm happy.
No, excuse me.
You're the one that can't debate it
now. Hold on,
James. Let us go on.
Hold on.
I am tackling both questions, James.
Hold on. The topic that you're now suggesting is there more to the process of abiogenesis than this question alone? That's the topic you now want to debate? James. Of course there is. You're a moron.
James,
what is the topic of debate, Eric?
Are you going to take control of your channel, James? Or are you going to ignore what's going on here?
He's talking to somebody
else.
He's talking to somebody else, dude.
I see. And I'm asking him straight up, is he going to continue talking to somebody else, or is he going to take control of his own debate?
Until you give me a topic of debate, then he's going to start the debate.
James, if you don't want to give us time, individual time allotments,
if you don't want to give us a topic, then I don't know what he's giving us time to talk about. Just tell me what the topic is.
It's obvious that T doesn't want this debate, James.
I'm happy to debate.
So I'm not going to waste any more time, James.
So you don't have a topic
sit here,
right?
I will sit here until you start the debate. But I'm going to.
There's nothing to debate if you don't have a topic. So I'll just wait for you to tell me what the topic is.
So I am absolutely willing to still let you guys have a debate, but we have to land on whether or not there's a topic, and both debaters feel comfortable starting.
Sure.
I told you I would take both topics. I will answer his question as I debate my topic.
Except
I will take both, James.
Except
if he's not willing to accept that, that's okay. He can walk along. I don't care.
So you're willing to take the negative that he's wrong there?
No, I told you I'm not taking the negative on that question.
Right?
Why would I take a negative on a question that I know
Then what topic do you want to debate?
It is not abiogenesis.
Right.
It's
then what topic do you want to debate?
What
topic do you want to debate, Eric? I understand you don't want to take that topic. That's fine.
Supposed to be debating abiogenesis versus biogenesis.
Yeah, I'm
fine. Not just one step of it.
What topic do you want to debate, Eric?
James, are we going to start or not?
As soon as you tell me the topic,
I've answered his questions ad nauseum. So are you going to take control of this, James, and give us our 10-minute opening or not?
As soon as I get a topic,
he has to be comfortable and want to start, or if not, we won't have a debate.
Well, then that's on him, isn't it?
Give me a topic.
He obviously doesn't want this debate. Everybody that told me James was going to back out of this debate.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
I knew he would.
I'm asking for the
topic. I knew he would. And other people knew it too all along. Just like he's had stage 4 cancer for the last 8 years.
Maybe I should do this instead. Instead of me asking you to provide
topic, when he tried to gaslight everybody and tell us he created life in a laboratory.
And see if you agree with that topic. Does that sound okay?
It's too late, see. If you don't want to debate,
you don't want to debate me? You don't
no, I want to debate you, but you won't.
Well, I'm asking. Okay, well, a second ago you said
and James won't get us started.
Well, a second ago you said you didn't.
No, I will. I certainly will.
Okay, then I'm going to ask you if this is a topic you want to debate.
No, don't you ask me another thing.
I'm sorry, I'm going to ask you if this is a topic that you wish to debate me on.
James, take control of this. You're wasting my time.
I'm sorry, I'm asking you if this is a topic you wish to debate me on.
You are both wasting my time at this point.
I'm asking if this is a topic that
you are both wasting my time at this point.
Eric, at this
James,
point,
I'm just going to ask you. Can we please just start?
Eric, look, if T's unwilling to debate without you guys having this
I'm willing to debate, James. Do you hear me say this? I'm willing
interrupting James
debate. So
all you've done is
unwilling to debate. I'm willing to debate. Give me a topic to debate, and I will debate it.
But T, what I'm saying is you're not willing to debate as it stands now. That's what I'm saying.
No, James. Excuse me, James. I am willing to
quit
debate
interrupting
right
James.
now.
Yes.
Right now.
T, I'm conceding that
right
you are willing.
Now.
I'm conceding that you are willing to debate if you have a topic established.
A topic to debate. Yes. What would you like the topic?
But I'm saying right now, currently, I'm answering Eric that, Eric, I cannot start the debate when T's not going to participate, when he does not believe the topic's been established. We're stuck.
Well, when I say that the topic will be abiogenesis versus biogenesis,
that's not a
and
topic.
which of the two is more closely established or more closely resembles the facts of nature.
I will take the biogenesis side of that topic.
And
I will take the biogenesis side of that topic.
At the same time, I will tackle his question.
I will take the biogenesis side of that topic.
So he agrees with me that biogenesis more closely resembles
I came
the
from
facts
my
of
parents.
nature that we view today.
I came from my parents, right? That's the
In other
process
words,
by which life comes from life.
That life is
from my
established.
That is the process by which life
is that life comes from life.
You gonna let me speak? That is the process by which life comes from life. I came from my parents. That's biogenesis. That's what we see today.
You're fine. I'll ask it. Nobody's. Don't worry about supervening to chatting anything into this mess, JJ. Let me know and I will ask for you. It is a nightmare right now. I'm talking to people on the back channel who are watching this debate, and they had a question. T, could you be specific into what topic you would like to debate with Eric?
I would like to debate abiogenesis. Specifically, is the research topic of abiogenesis a valid one? Is it supported by observational evidence? Does it create hypotheses which are testable, falsifiable, and in turn observed to not be false? Does it in turn lead us to better understand the formation of complex organic systems? That's the type of question I'm interested in debating about abiogenesis. But Eric can't give me a topic of debate. Now, I just gave you a fuck ton. Can you pick from one of those, Eric?
If you want to debate abiogenesis, I will debate abiogenesis.
I said pick from one of those.
Abiogenesis.
No, I said pick from one of those questions that I just asked.
Oh, you want to pigeonhole it. I
want you to pick.
That's exactly what you're doing. You want to. You see, this is so ridiculous, James. He wants me to take positions where I know certain things happen, but does that result in abiogenesis? No, it doesn't.
What do you mean? Does that result in abiogenesis?
Does it result in the bringing forth of life, the creation of life? No, it doesn't.
What do you mean?
The one thing abiogenesis, one thing that we know abiogenesis has never been observed to do, is create a cell. The cell is the most one of the biggest, most necessary building blocks to life that there are, because all life is cellular, from single cell to multicell, from single cell to multicell. I'm talking to James, not you, son.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying now we've got.
So then quit interrupting me. I'm talking to James.
Oh, sorry, Mike.
So all life, James, comes from a cell, and abiogenesis, you cannot create a cell. Abiogenesis has never been observed to create a cell. Now let me explain to you what these people want you to believe, James. T would have you to believe
can we just get
that
on with
the process of abiogenesis would start to create a cell, and it would get real close. Because they say life evolved, that it kept trying to fall together just right, except it couldn't. And so it would try again and fail, and try again and fail, until finally something happened one day, and everything just fell together just right. Now, let me tell you something. A cell has many different portions to its structure. A cell actually has mechanical software inside it, biologically mechanical. But yet it's like little robots that are working together inside this cell to perform functions that allow it to metabolize, eat, and crap, and hunt, and etc. These things actually hunt as though they have a mind, as though they have a purpose. They also know when their life is in danger, like the parameciums that try to get away from a single-celled amoeba as they're being eaten. So these things, let me tell you, they say that they began to fall together, and then all of a sudden, a bunch of them were self-assembled by nature, complete with all of their moving parts and all of their machinery. And not only that, but while the body was forming, the DNA also self-formed inside it, which is the software that runs it perfectly. And they want you to believe that that didn't just happen one time, but it happened at the same time to large populations. And that something happened. They don't know the vehicle by which this happened. But then all of a sudden you have all of these dead things laying there that self-formed. Something happens. They don't know how, they don't know what, but it just popped them all to life and they started replicating. And then they evolved into every creature that you see today. That's the story that they would have you to believe. That's the process of abiogenesis. That's what he wants you to believe. Now, his question, do all of these simple things, are they capable of becoming more complex things? That's a sure thing. Of course they do. For instance, nucleotides become DNA. Nucleotides can form together to form a DNA strand. The simpler to the more complex. Of course, these things happen. But does it result in non-life bringing forth life? He can't point to a single instance of that ever occurring. But biogenesis is a real science, not a pseudoscience, and it observes correctly that life brings forth life, and that's the only way we ever observe it coming about. It also observes that life brings forth after its own kind. For instance, spiders bring forth spider eggs, which bring forth more spiders, and fish eggs bring forth fish eggs. We know that these things happen. Everything brings forth after its own kind. So then you need to figure out this. Is there a way to test abiogenesis versus biogenesis to see which is more probable? And of course there is. All you have to do is figure out the number of live births in a single day, which have to be in the billions.
When you consider
animals and
are you just doing your like 10 minutes? Is that what this is?
And then on the other hand, not only do you consider live births, every one was brought about by biogenesis and not abiogenesis. You also have eggs, which happens how many billions of times a day do roach eggs hatch, or chicken eggs, or spider eggs? All of these things are proof again for biogenesis and evidence against abiogenesis, because not one life you can point to came about through abiogenesis. And then if you really want to get big in numbers, let's talk about the number of cells that divide in a single day. Mitosis.
Can we not?
Yeah, they're in the human body alone, over 330 million cells per day divide in one single human body alone. Multiply that by 8 billion people, then multiply that by every animal on Earth, multiply that by, add to that every plant on Earth, and you're going to find out that billions and billions, billions of billions, trillions of billions of cells divide every single day. All of these things are testimony. All of these things are tests in which biogenesis has a 100% score. Abiogenesis has 0. And his question, do these things sometimes, do the simple sometimes become more complex? Of course. But never has it ever been observed or made to create life.
Okay, so all I got out of that was you don't understand the process of cellular formation.
I don't care what you got out of it.
So do we have a topic of debate?
I think you've already lost.
I don't have, I'm waiting for the topic of debate.
That's okay. If he's not ready to debate, James,
let me try it this way, Eric. How about we do this, right? Do chemicals fall into lower energy states, forming more complex macromolecules, which get selected for by the environment for their functionality, eventually leading to complex chemical systems like cellular life forms?
What was my answer to that already?
Would that be a good topic of debate?
No, it wouldn't, because we both know that happens. Okay.
I thought
we both know. we both know that the complex can become the simple becomes more complex. We also know that it's never been observed to lead to life.
I'm sorry, those are you just said that it was observed, and then you said that it never happens. I'm confused.
It's never been observed to create life.
I'm very confused about what you're saying, because
Well,
you
you're
just
very confused. I know you are.
No, you just said it.
Quit trying to manipulate.
No, you just
James,
said
you're going to turn this into a debate, or my time is wasted.
No, I'm just asking.
What are you going to do?
If that's, I offered a topic.
I'm not going to sit here and listen to his crap, James.
I offered a topic of debate, Eric.
I am not going to listen to your crap. If you don't have a debate, just shut up and leave.
I'm asking if you agree to the
if
topic.
You don't have a debate, T,
so
just go.
So currently there is no technical debate. You guys are still hammering out what you're even going to talk about. And we've been doing this.
He doesn't even know his position.
35 minutes live now, and we've been doing this for a total of an hour and 5 minutes.
Yeah, he doesn't even know his position, right?
So, James, I'm not going to be insulted by this fool anymore.
Right. I just asked
if he doesn't want to debate, he doesn't have to.
I just asked
but he
you
knows
if
the
topic you would like to
and
debate.
He knows the questions, and he knows that I said that I would debate both, and I just sat here and debated both. I showed you his position isn't even valid.
I just asked you if it forms cellular life, and you said, "Of course that happens."
No, I didn't say it.
Yes, a second ago you did.
Well, then I didn't hear that part. That's for sure.
Oh, let me repeat it then.
I interrupted you, dude.
Let me repeat it then.
So if you want to throw that in while I'm talking to you and not paying attention.
You didn't interrupt me. No, you agreed. You said, "Of course that happens." You didn't interrupt me.
The simple becomes more complex.
No, that's not what I said. No, that's not what I said.
And I've also been very clear that has never been observed.
Eric, allow me to try again with the topic.
So piss off, dude.
Allow me to try again with the topic, Eric. Is this the topic that you would like to debate?
James.
Do chemicals...
James, pay attention to me, dude.
Do chemicals
Why are you letting this dude make a mockery of your show and waste everybody's time?
I think that this whole entire last 35 minutes has been a mockery of a potential debate. This may be...
It has been, yes.
I'm trying to ask Eric if he would like to debate this topic. Can I just finish, please?
Well, this is what happens when you try to establish something with T.
I'd like to ask Eric if he would like to debate this topic. Can I just ask the question, please? Would that be all right, James?
No. I've answered all your questions.
You don't want to debate me?
I think at this point it's probably pretty much...
You don't want to debate me, Eric?
Then.
Because let me
Yes, I wish you would debate, you ass.
I'm gonna try again, Eric. Here's the topic I'm gonna ask if you would like to debate.
It's too late. We've already got it.
I'm asking if you would like to debate this topic, Eric.
I already took my opening. If you don't want to debate it from there, that's
right now, Eric. Would you like to debate this topic? Do chemicals fall into lower energy states, forming more complex macromolecules with increasing functionality, which get selected for by their environment, leading to complex chemical systems like cellular life forms?
No.
Okay. You don't want to debate that topic?
No, because it doesn't. If you want to show everybody where that ever ends up creating a life form, go right ahead.
Do you want to debate that topic, Eric?
Go right ahead.
Sorry, Eric, do you want to debate that topic?
Yeah, show us where it creates a life form.
Eric, do you want to debate that?
Sure, show us where it creates a life form.
So you're going to take the negative on that?
Show us where it creates a life form.
Sorry, Eric, are you going to take the negative on that?
I will say that it never creates a life form, sure.
Sorry, are you going to take the negative on that, Eric?
I will say that it has never created a life form. What do you not understand about that? Are you going to take
the negative, though?
What do you not understand about? I will show that it has never, ever been established to create life.
I don't know what that means. We're not asking if
I know you don't, because you're a dishonest moron, dude.
We're asking if it creates a cell, Eric.
Well, no, it doesn't.
Is there anywhere we can...
Eric,
it's never been observed to create a cell.
You wish to debate?
Is there any way we can have this as a debate where we address if it does lead to complex life? That might be a simple way to move forward. Are you guys?
Yeah, I'll be happy to do that.
T, are you okay with that?
Tell me what the topic of debate is.
It would be Does simple life lead to complex life?
No, that's
okay.
not
So
the
that's
question.
like a completely different question.
The question, James, would be take James's question, or excuse me, take T's question, and then ask at the end of it, has this been determined to create life? Has this ever been observed to create life?
That's not the process of creating life, Eric.
You're damned right. It's not. It's just one of the mighty steps that are needed to create life.
Correct. The formation
Yes.
of organic.
Yes, and
of
see,
organic
that's what you're
particles.
trying to avoid.
No, I'm not.
We're talking about the creation of life.
I'm not avoiding anything.
Okay, James. So you see, he doesn't want to debate whether or not that process.
Go ahead, James.
Whether or not that process ends up in creating life. He won't debate that, James.
What process?
Because he knows that it doesn't.
What process?
James, repeat that again.
Please.
And ask him if he's willing to debate it.
Do simple life forms turn into, or
I asked James to ask you again,
forms, right?
and ask you. No,
please go ahead.
Ask James to read your question, and ask you.
Oh, my question.
If you want to hold the position that that life has been observed to be created in this manner.
No, that's not what I said.
Oh, so you agree that life has never been observed to be created in that manner?
Allow me to clarify my position on that.
You agree with me, right?
Allow me to clarify my position on that.
You agree with me, right? Life has never been observed.
Allow me to clarify.
Life has never. Yes or no? Yes or no, dude?
Allow me.
Has life ever been observed being created by that process that you just asked?
Allow me to clarify my position on that topic, Eric.
Yes or no?
Allow me to clarify my position on that topic, Eric.
Start with a yes or no, moron.
Allow me to clarify my position on that topic.
You dishonest. You are so dishonest.
Eric, allow me to clarify.
Start with a yes or no. Go right ahead.
Allow me to clarify, please.
James.
My position on that topic, Eric, is that abiogenesis is a research project into how life began on Earth some millions or billions of years ago.
It's not just a research project. It's also the determined way that they atheists believe life evolved.
That's not what I said, Eric.
I don't care what you said. That's what it is.
That's
I know it's not what you said.
That's not my position.
What is your position?
That's not my position, Eric. Is that it's a research project into.
It doesn't matter what your position is. It's not just
that's my position, Eric.
Project.
It is a research project.
Abiogenesis is the idea that life came from non-life.
Abiogenesis is a research project into how life formed on non-biotic Earth, right? That's the research project. How did it occur?
James, right? I'll reach for you.
That's the research project. That's what we're trying to investigate.
Okay.
That's what, and then biology is sort of the umbrella of that, which is just the study of life
Google's
in general.
AI,
right?
James.
So abiogenesis is the study of how biology formed, right? The initial formation of biological systems. That's what we're talking about.
James, here's the definition. Abiogenesis is the theory that life originated on Earth from non-living matter, such as organic compounds through natural processes.
Yep.
The theory suggests that the first life forms were simple and gradually became more complex over time. Now, the question is, do simple things become more complex sometimes?
Of course they do. Yeah.
Of course they do.
Yeah.
Now, the next question is,
that was my original question.
Has it ever been observed?
Original question, Eric.
Has it ever been observed?
Do chemicals fall into lower energy
states?
Has it ever been observed? More complex macromolecules. That was my original question, Eric. Forming more complex macromolecules, right? Forming more complex macromolecules. That was my original question. Yeah.
Then the question is, does that lead to life?
Complex? Yeah, they do. Yeah.
It has never been observed to lead to life.
Never. I didn't say anything about it being observed, right?
So you have no proof that this ever leads to life.
Hold on. if you want to talk about the research project, which leads to life, that's called artificial life. That's what that is, right?
Now,
it's
James,
a separate project. Okay.
I'm bored to death with this fellow.
Project in which we research the process
and I'm tired of sitting here, James,
life, right?
in a debate
that's
that
called
is not
artificial
a debate.
life, right? Then there's abiogenesis, which is the research project regarding how life on Earth began. Two different research projects.
James.
Okay. And the reason for that
will you pay
we would
attention
not
to me and acknowledge
the same
me,
process
dude?
in the lab that occurred on
I'm
Earth.
acknowledging
right?
that you're both
It would be
talking
silly.
over each other, and it's not very
Then-
informative. I need you guys to come up with a topic, or else
Will
we
you
not have
please
debate.
take control of this broadcast and be a moderator?
Look, I agreed to mod a debate. I didn't
Okay,
agree
then do
to
it.
mod two guys yelling at each other for
James,
an hour and a half,
take
talking about
control.
setting up a debate.
Take control so the debate can be had.
I already told you, unless T says he can debate you based on
Okay,
that,
then end
there's no
this.
debate.
Then end this ridiculousness and stop wasting my time.
Give me a topic.
Because I'm not going to leave T here while you've got this going. So if you're not going to force the debate, then go ahead and end this.
Give me a topic and I'll debate.
So Peter, this would be really bad moderation if we were actually having a debate. But these guys cannot agree on a debate topic.
And you know, James, I told you that if you scheduled
every topic
I told you, James, that if you scheduled this debate, you'd be scheduling it knowing that I'm debating.
He dismissed my original topic
versus
He dismissed my original topic. He dismissed all the topics that I brought
up.
And
you know that when he tried to say
the very suggestion,
when he tried to say that his question was abiogenesis,
that it forms cellular life.
I proved.
I don't know what to do. Right?
He
says it happens. He says he agrees that rust forms. Things become more complex. Right? I don't know what to do here. Right? You just give me a topic and I'll debate it.
James, you're wasting my time. End this, dude. End this sham. Or let's start it. Which of the two is it going to be?
Start what?
Let's either
Peter, I completely agree. If you came in late, this does look bad. And that's because it is bad, because I thought that there was an agreement, at least enough to start a debate.
And Eric won't agree.
Debaters, right? There is not. But I still wanted to bring something to you because I had committed to my Patreon subscribers to debate and people who are subscribed to the channel. So I'm giving them at least an hour of them trying to figure out how to debate. But I do agree with you, Peter. Coming in, that's exactly how I would feel as well.
No, James, I told you from the very beginning that if you do this, it's going to be under the understanding that the topic is going to be abiogenesis versus biogenesis.
That's not a question.
I also showed you that his question was not abiogenesis.
That's also not a
one
question.
Specific step in the process of abiogenesis.
That's also not a question. I never said it was abiogenesis. I said abiogenesis is a research project.
Take control.
That's what I said abiogenesis
and either let us debate this or close it out.
I'm hoping that you guys will.
I'm ready.
Tell me the topic. I'm ready.
Agreement.
He's the only one playing a game holding this up.
If we do not have the agreement, we cannot have.
He's the only one holding this back, not me. I agreed that I would address both.
Lucas, thank you very much for the super chat. He says, for the effort. I appreciate. I get probably a B in effort there.
It would be a B in effort if you would take control of this and turn it into a debate.
If I took control of this and not gave you guys a chance, you would have never made the live on this. But I'm trying to get you guys spun in the right direction. I really think that if you guys start debating, even if you disagree slightly on the topic,
sure,
you can lay that out, and you guys are enough to.
That's what I've been saying all along.
James,
so let's do it.
Give me a topic. I'm in. Give me a topic, please. I've been asking for like half an hour now. Give me a topic.
Use the one I stated previously.
What about, is a biogenesis valid?
What do you mean by valid?
Meaning, does it account for the formation of complex life?
Is it a research project? Is that what you mean?
Well, I think there's a distinction. There is the Abiogenesis research project, but then there's the common question: is does abiogenesis, this study, actually explain how complex life forms? And I think that you guys could go back and forth and could have a nice debate on that. And Eric would end up taking.
That's a naive question, because in principle, it leads to life, but in practice, it doesn't.
I don't know what in practice means.
Complex life.
What?
Yeah, it doesn't lead to complex life. It leads to simple life.
Well, I think that both of you would agree that. I think both of you would agree that it leads to simple life.
No, it doesn't lead to life at all.
Okay, so that seems like that's the positive and the negative.
But it's not abiogenesis that does it. That's the research project.
But Eric would argue that in all cases it doesn't. You would argue that in some cases it does.
What he would argue is that chemicals, for example, don't fall down into lower energy states.
No, that's not what I would argue.
More complex
because of course they do, right? James. It just doesn't result in life.
Or alternatively, he would argue that they aren't selected for by the environment. Or alternatively,
that's not what I would argue either.
Excuse me, I
would simply argue it never results in life.
Excuse me, I wasn't finished yet. Or
I don't care what you're finished with.
He would argue that they don't result in more complex chemical systems. That they're not effectively autocatalytic, for example, right? Or he might argue that these autocatalytic systems don't lead to cellular formation, like lipids.
I think you guys are
or they don't lead
close.
to all of so. Just tell me the topic, and I'm off to the races, right?
I think you guys are so close. I think this last topic I threw out would be a good enough way for both of you to make arguments.
Right. Just tell me what you mean by, because is a research project valid? I mean, that doesn't make any sense, right? But if the question is, do all of these processes that I just listed lead to simple life forms, as I earlier suggested, I don't know, 20 minutes ago, when Eric went, oh, no, that happens.
That doesn't
we're off to the races, right?
I'll take that.
Okay, so this sounds like the debate.
Ago, you said you
Hold on, let's
let's
stop right there before we go any further. Let's not worry about 20 minutes ago, last month, 2 weeks ago. Let's stop right there. Sounds like we have a disagreement. He disagrees with that exact statement you just said, and he'll take the negative. Sounds like what Eric's saying. Eric,
is that?
Does that sound good?
And this is the thing, Eric. I asked you at the beginning.
I'm taking the negative that
yeah. Do you want to change the topic?
He said that results in the creation of life.
Right. Turns out the negative. Now you've wanted to change the topic and you haven't listened.
Yes, let's do that. That'll be the new topic right here. Everybody's aware. We can have a debate going straight into that. Eric is going to take the negative, as T wanted him to take a negative. T will take the positive.
In that it is a research project regarding how that occurs, right?
No.
Wait a minute. Eric just said no.
In that it creates life. It results in the creation of life.
It doesn't result in the creation of life. It's a research
project. Trying to take advantage of people's ignorance, dude. You're trying to make a fool of James and take advantage of the fact that he's not familiar with the subject. Quit it, you ass.
So setting aside what we just heard, it sounds like one would argue that it can create simple life. The other one would argue that it doesn't always create simple life. So Eric is taking the negative, that it doesn't always lead to life. And T is taking the positive, that it does always
lead to life. It doesn't always lead to life? Nobody said it always leads to life, right?
Does it eventually lead to life or not? Has it ever been observed?
Can it?
Has it ever been observed to lead to life or
not? No. Again, that's not the question because of course.
Because it doesn't.
He popped out. Maybe be back in a second.
James, I'm going to be honest with you. I get furious when I watch him trying to take advantage of the fact that you don't know this subject.
No, I'm explaining what the subject quite well. There's actually a division here, right? One is the process that occurs
James admits that
over millions of years, right? The other is a process which occurs in the laboratory.
Are you accepting the debate or not?
Processes, right?
Are you accepting the debate or not?
I'm just asking for clarification.
Then if you're going to be doing this for another 15 minutes, no.
If you won't provide
James gave us the subject. If you don't want to debate it,
you didn't provide clarification.
If you don't want to debate it, go.
It seems like you don't want to debate it.
Yeah, I've been trying to get you to debate this entire time, chimp.
I'm waiting for the topic.
Yeah. James, are we going to debate your topic or not, brother?
I'm waiting for clarification on the topic, Eric.
Well, James just gave it to us.
No, he didn't.
I thought we almost had a topic, and we did not. I thought so. And,
but then Eric said no, right?
I'm also in the background, if you guys see my mouth moving, but you don't hear it. I'm communicating with guys in a private chat right now.
James,
we're either begging for the stream to be ended or a topic to be agreed upon.
Thank you, and I agree. Because when you mentioned the topic just now, he agreed, and then in the next breath he tried to change it again.
You said no
into just another research.
You're the one who said
topic.
No.
We're not asking is it a research topic. We're asking has it ever been observed to lead to life?
Of course it hasn't, because we don't observe the past.
Thank you very much. And we can't recreate it in the lab either.
Of course, that's not the research project, right? That's artificial life.
You are the most dishonest person I've ever run across, dude.
No, that's not. It's a different research project.
So, James, ask him if he's going to debate it or not. Please.
The way that
if he's not,
the way that life is created in the lab is called artificial life. That's what that is, right? And we can talk about that if there's a subject or topic of debate around that. Fine.
The topic of debate is abiogenesis and biogenesis. Does abiogenesis has it ever been observed to lead to life?
I just established that it doesn't get observed. The past isn't observed. You don't observe 2 billion years ago, right? You observe the present and the forensic evidence.
How do you know it was 2 billion years ago, T?
Because you observed the present and the forensic evidence.
How do you know it was 2? You're presupposing.
I just answered that question because you observed the present and the forensic evidence years ago. Because you observe the present and the forensic evidence.
You're presupposing. You have
I'm not presupposing anything.
You have no proof that life began 2 billion years ago.
Okay, actually, I do. It's called life on Earth, right?
You don't have any proof at all. It started 2 billion years ago.
I don't know. Of course I do, right? That's the forensic evidence.
What is that? Let me see your testable evidence that proved that it occurred 2 billion years ago.
It starts with a hypothesis, right?
Oh, so you don't have any real testable evidence.
No, I said it starts with a hypothesis.
Yes. Right? But you don't have anything that's testable.
Yes, it does start with a hypothesis.
Okay.
Okay, it does start with a hypothesis, right?
James, look, this idiot can sit here all day long and ramble on like a fool, and you know that he can't.
Discuss the evidence, right?
So, James, are we going to debate this, or
no?
I
thought we were just going to discuss the evidence.
Stop wasting my time, James.
No, you asked me to discuss the evidence. What are you doing,
James?
You asked me to discuss the evidence.
I'm not going to waste any further time until I know we're debating, James.
You asked me to discuss.
So please take control.
What are you doing?
And do one thing or the other.
We have now wasted officially almost an hour live on this, having a debate about a debate.
No, I'm trying to discuss the evidence now. He's interrupting me.
So, James, take control, please. We can.
So, do you want me to discuss the evidence or not?
If you don't take control, you might as well close it because you can see he's not.
Okay, so can you mute him so I can discuss the evidence then?
Oh, he wants you to bias yourself again.
No, you asked me to discuss the evidence.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I asked you to get off your ass and debate it like a man, but you
you asked me to discuss the evidence. You said, "What's the evidence of that?" Yes, you did. You said, "What's the evidence of that?"
Come on, dude.
No, you asked me, "What's the evidence of that?"
James, don't just sit there and ignore this, James.
I'm sorry, you don't want to discuss the evidence?
Would you please take control of your channel?
Yes, please mute him so I can discuss the evidence, like you asked me to.
Well, James, if you want to be biased and mute me, go right ahead.
Well,
or if you want to start this debate,
I'm not muted any of you because I understand that both you guys are adults, and I think that on a live public platform, it's not like you're back channeling on Discord or Facebook Messenger. You guys can have a good conversation. I haven't muted you because we're not in the middle of the debate, but I hope, and we'll give it another 5 minutes, I'm going to
James, do not give it another 5 minutes. Please either start the debate now or
You're
don't.
welcome. You're welcome
Please.
to leave, Eric, and that would officially
No,
end the
I'm not.
discussion.
I'm not leaving
I can
until
put a
T
bow on
does
it.
or until you close it. But
If you're not
please
leaving
take
till T
control.
does, I don't think T's leaving till you're done, and then that
I'm happy
means
to debate.
I'll eventually call it.
He says he's happy to debate, so let's start the debate,
tell me
James.
the topic. Tell me the topic.
James just did. What's your topic, James? Name the topic.
I have already thrown out a few suggestions, and they have been shot down.
Yeah, because they weren't
shot
down, right?
No.
I will actually be renaming this video when it's done the debate that never happened.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a good one because I knew he would never do it.
I'm happy to debate. Just give me a topic.
Other people told me he would never do it.
You guys have enough disagreement to find enough commonality to start a structured debate.
I know, but every time
you're an old Christian, for example, Eric, who believes that this came from God. T, you're an atheist who does not believe in God and believes this comes from the natural. I don't know why we couldn't agree and start arguing the natural versus the supernatural, and God did it.
Sure. What's the question? We can do that. Ask a question. James.
You guys ready, or is that close?
Just tell me the question. Just ask a question. I'm saying. Involve God, everything. That's fine. Just ask a question.
Eric, would you be interested if we switched it just a little bit? We made it a little bit wider. Old Earth creationism versus naturalism.
Sure.
Okay. What's the question?
That's which one is more of a valid way, or which one is more true? You could say which is more true.
Which is better attested to by nature?
That sound okay, T?
Say it one more time in completion.
So, old Earth versus naturalism. We're not going to say atheism. Old Earth versus naturalism. And then...
I don't understand how that's a dichotomy.
What was the last part?
Can you please explain the dichotomy there?
Yeah, which of the two best describes life on Earth?
What if we said... I'm not
familiar with the dichotomy there.
What if we said old Earth versus naturalism?
Right.
Which best describes the data?
Right. If you could just explain to me, this is old Earth, this is naturalism, this is why they're dichotomous. If you could just explain that to me, please.
So old Earth Christianity would have the tie to God, that the natural couldn't do this apart from a God. And then you would be arguing that there does not seem to be a need for a God.
Okay. So am I to understand that the question is something like, does this better explain the facts?
Yes.
Okay. I'm all right with that.
All right. So we have old Earth Christianity versus naturalism. Which best explains the facts? Sound good?
Fine. Yeah.
All right. Because we are slightly changing the title, Eric. I'm just going to give T an option if he would like an opening statement within this, or if he would just like to still wait to the question period.
No, I can wait. That's fine.
Okay. Eric, are you good?
Yeah, I would like an opening statement. And I think it's rather ridiculous that T won't take an opening statement.
Hold on, that's the debater's right to refuse an opening statement.
I accept. Yeah, I realize that.
So we'll start your opening statement, not addressing T for the previous debate discussion, but just on the topic. T will stay muted for your 10 minutes. I will get ready to put your 10 minutes on the clock. And then for those watching, there'll be two 20-minute periods where each debater gets to ask the other debater questions for 10 minutes. Then after that 20-minute open, I guess we'll call that a battle royale. And then after that, we'll move into 10 minutes of questions from you guys. All right. So when you are ready, Eric, I will start your 10-minute timer, and no one will interrupt.
Thank you. I'm going to get a drink of water here. take a moment.
Okay, tell me when you're ready. For those in the chat, please like, comment, subscribe. All that helps me out and makes it better for me. It gives a little bit more attention to the channel. I'm hoping to do more lives. Maybe try to get a few more debates in there for you guys as well. While we're waiting on Eric, so super chats. I won't read them in the middle of the debate, but I'll put them on the screen when you super chat them. But at the end, after the questions, if there's any super chats that didn't get addressed on there, I will make sure to read those. As for the question and answer period, super chats always take priority, but you don't have to super chat to ask a question. Let's address this super chat. Here's a super chat for you, brother. To deserve this, you gone through this hosting, this clicks this. Sorry, that last part I kind of butchered, but thank you very much. I appreciate the sentiment. All right, you guys ready?
Sure.
Eric, tell me when, and I'll start it.
Okay, James, first of all, I want to thank you for hosting this, and I mean that sincerely. And I'm really sorry that it seems like there was such a problem over getting this started. So, as an old Earth creationist, I believe in creation. And as I began to study in life, I asked a lot of questions because, in my opinion, God can do anything he wishes. And if he wanted to create an Earth by which life could naturally evolve on its own, he could have done it. And if he wanted to create an Earth in which you have a tree of life of common descent, and every living creature goes back to a single-celled organism, he could have done it. But I'm not a man that is happy with not knowing things. And so I sought to find out on my own how God did this. And I did so in an unbiased way because it's no skin off my back either way. I just wanted to know, can life naturally evolve? Did God create things this way, and can it go on to evolve? So I studied it out. And here's what I've found out. You see, we have a pseudoscience called Abiogenesis, which is the study of how life could possibly begin without a God, how it can just naturally form. And of course, there have been many experiments to try to make this happen, and it's never, ever, ever been observed in nature or in a laboratory. Now, the funny thing about this is we know what all the building blocks to life are, every single one of them. And a lot of them can naturally occur because in some cases, simple structures can become more complex. For instance, nucleotides gather together to form DNA. So some people will say, well, this process goes on until you can actually create life. Well, I just see no evidence of this whatsoever. We never observe it in nature. And we know all the building blocks of life. We can pile them up. We can irradiate them. We can strike them with lightning. But we can't make a cell. We simply can't make a living cell. Now, if we can't observe all of the building blocks of life being built by nature, then this rules out life. And if nature can't put together a cell on its own, and we've never observed it, and we can't do it in the lab, then this disallows nature building life. Because every single life you can point out is cellular. It's either a single-celled or a multi-celled organism. And if we can't observe the creation of a cell through a natural process of anything other than mitosis, well, then we simply can't say that abiogenesis is a feasible thing, and it will never be recreated in the lab. We can't make living cells. So no, it doesn't happen. Now, the question that T would have us ponder is this. Can simple and complexes, or can something simple form something more complex? Of course it can. That's not the question here. The question is, does it ever result in building life? And it's never been observed in nature, never been observed in a lab, and it doesn't matter what you do to it. Now, let me explain to you how ridiculous is the thought that they would have you believe. They say that life evolves, meaning that nature didn't just push out life, boom, 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 like that, but that it tried to build cells and kept failing and kept failing and kept failing. And cells would begin to fall together just randomly and fail until one day something happened and all of a sudden a cell was created, but it wasn't alive. Now, let me explain to you why it has to happen. A cell has many parts to it and many little micro machines within it that perform functions, like when it performs mitosis. You have tons of little machines going back and forth on microtubulars, preparing things for this split. So you have all of these things randomly coming together, building an actual machine, an actual biological machine. And not only is it building this, the guts and blood and etc. of this machine, the working parts of this machine, it's also building within it. The DNA is naturally randomly forming together inside it to run it perfectly. I'm telling you, that's just a ridiculous story. And then we're supposed to believe that it didn't just happen once, but it happened in large populations. Nature just formed a bunch of these all together. And there they are laying there, dead, lifeless. And now something has to happen. And they don't know what it is. They don't know how. They don't know what. But something just causes them to wake up, come to life, and begin replicating. What a ridiculous science fiction story, guys. Cool story, but it's ridiculous. It's absurd. We don't observe it, and we can't make it happen in a lab. So there you go, guys. Life, biogenesis, is the opposite of abiogenesis. Biogenesis states that only life can bring forth life. That's what we observe in life. And then it brings forth after its own kind. That's what we observe in life. Now, if we extrapolate this back, that all we ever observe is that a life has to be present in order to create a life, then when we extrapolate this back to the first life, we need to understand that never changed. It takes a life to create a life. So if we extrapolate this back previous to life, we have to realize that there was a life form that existed when there was nothing, and that this life form was present to bring forth life. Otherwise, life never could have come forth at all. So whatever time I've got left, James, I'll let that be my open.
All righty. You have about 2 minutes left if you would like to use it. If not, we'll start T's question period. And
That's
so
he
will ask you a question, and in theory, he should give you about 30 seconds.
Yeah, so can you hear me, James? Eric? I think my stream freezed up. Are you there?
Yeah, it was weird. Like my whole entire computer went to. You guys there?
I'm here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, perfect.
You keep disappearing on us.
Ready? You get to begin your 10 minutes of questions. Eric, in theory, T will give you like 30 seconds to answer. You won't ask T the questions during this period. You only ask T questions during the next period.
Well, yeah, it's strange you didn't even mention the actual topic of debate, which is old Earth creationism. So probably we should start there. When you say that old Earth Christianity or whatever, old Earth, whatever it's called, old Earth, best explains the facts. I assume that you're speaking of explanatory virtues. Is that correct?
No, I'm saying as an old earther, I adhere to biogenesis as opposed to abiogenesis.
I was speaking about the topic of debate, though.
Mm-hmm. Go on.
Yes. Are you? With regards to the topic of debate, is your position that it has more explanatory virtues?
I certainly think that because I adhere to biogenesis as opposed to abiogenesis, yes.
Okay. So what are some of those explanatory virtues?
Well, for instance, we can look around and we can see that it takes a life to bring forth a life. And so that the first life had to be brought forth from another life. And if you extrapolate that back, it leads us to God.
That's not an explanatory virtue.
Well, it is to me.
No, an explanatory virtue would be like coherent.
Well, it may not be to you. It is to me.
No, an explanatory virtue would be something like coherence or testability or lack of ad hoc degree or accuracy.
Well, it's very testable. For instance, we can test abiogenesis versus biogenesis every time we see an egg hatch. For instance, roach eggs, spider eggs, chicken eggs, fish eggs, it doesn't matter. Every time they hatch, it attests to biogenesis and it falsifies abiogenesis. You can't point to a single life that came about through abiogenesis, not even one. But every life you can point to, absolutely everyone, certainly attests to biogenesis.
When you say it falsifies abiogenesis, what do you mean? What's the falsification criteria there?
Well, that means it's another life that was not created through abiogenesis. For instance, you can't point to a single life that was brought about through abiogenesis.
That wasn't the question.
Well, that's good enough answer for me.
I'm sorry. The question was, what is the falsification criteria for abiogenesis?
Well, when you try to create life and it fails, that has been falsified. Now you can revise it. You can try again, but if it fails again, it's been falsified again. And if it fails again, it's been falsified again. And every single time it's been attempted, it's failed.
That's not a falsification criteria.
Oh, you don't know what falsification is then?
I do.
When something is falsified, it proves it correct?
No.
Okay. So when you try something and it proves to be wrong, hasn't that been falsified?
No.
Well, okay. Well, you've got a strange idea of falsification then.
No, doesn't it just mean that you don't have the proper explanation yet?
It means that what you tried was falsified. It's not true.
Yeah,
and I'm supposing that you're putting your best foot forward, aren't you?
But isn't that a specific hypothesis that we're falsifying?
What?
With that observation, whatever observation it is that's falsifying.
There's a specific whatever you try, there, right? If it failed, it's falsified. So right, if you attempted to create life, yes, and that failed, then you falsified that particular procedure.
Right. That's not a hypothesis.
You falsified that particular procedure.
No, I'm talking about I'm asking what the specific hypothesis is.
What?
That's being falsified.
What? You tell me.
No, you tell me. You're the one who's saying abiogenesis is being falsified.
That you can create life naturally through some process.
That's not a hypothesis.
Yeah.
That's not a falsifiable hypothesis.
Well, of course it is.
No, it isn't.
Can you create life from non-life?
That's not a falsifiable hypothesis.
Well, let me correct you. Abiogenesis is the theory that life originated on Earth from non-living matter.
Yeah,
such as organic compounds.
Well, that's not my question.
Through the natural process.
This is not my. I didn't ask for the definition of abiogenesis.
That the first life forms were
Sorry,
simple.
James, can you mute him? He's just grandstanding now. I didn't ask for the definition of abiogenesis. I asked for the specific hypothesis that's being falsified.
Well, the particular hypothesis is that Life can be formed through a process of abiogenesis.
That's not a hypothesis.
Of course it is.
No, it isn't.
Okay. Well, make that complaint to somebody else, dude.
No. A hypothesis.
Got any other questions?
No. Wouldn't a hypothesis be something like, do chemicals fall into lower energy states, forming more complex macromolecules? Wouldn't that be a hypothesis?
Well, no, that would be an observation.
No, it'd be a hypothesis, right?
Because
that would in turn
we know that can happen. So it's an observation.
Explain the formation of things like pre-organic macromolecules. Wouldn't that explain that? So that would have some explanatory power there with regards to abiogenesis, wouldn't it?
Well, that could certainly be one hypothesis, sure.
Okay, and it's not falsified, right?
What?
We observe chemicals. Don't we observe chemicals falling into lower energy states, creating more complex macromolecules?
We don't ever observe that forming life.
That's not the hypothesis.
Well, yeah, that is your eventual hypothesis when it comes to abiogenesis.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Okay.
That's not a hypothesis.
Okay.
I told you what the hypothesis was.
We'll find out better when it's my 10 minutes.
Aren't we trying to explain how chemicals fall into more complex chemical systems which lead to life? Isn't that the very thing we're trying to explain?
No, it's not.
We're not trying. You can try
to take advantage. You can try to take advantage of the ignorance of the average listener.
Sorry, we're not trying to explain the origin of life.
I'll set them straight when it's my 10 minutes.
I'm sorry. I thought we were. Aren't you trying to explain the origin of life?
That's what we're doing. Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
We're asking which origin is better explains what we observe in nature today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what is the specific hypothesis within abiogenesis that's being falsified? Is it that chemicals fall into lower energy states, forming more complex macromolecules? Is that the hypothesis is being falsified?
The hypothesis that is being falsified is that all of this ends in the creation of life.
That's not a hypothesis.
Okay, well, not for you. You're just sitting there lying.
No, it's not a falsifiable. How would you?
So if this is the way you want to waste your 10 minutes, I'm good with that.
How would you falsify that hypothesis? That's ridiculous. The very idea of that being a falsifier isn't. How are you going to falsify that hypothesis?
Okay, we know you disagree.
No, I'm asking the question. How are you going to falsify that hypothesis?
By trying to create life through a natural process.
How would that falsify it?
Because when you fail, it's falsified.
No, it is. You think that falsifies it?
When you fail, yes, it falsifies that process.
Okay, so can you give me an example of like a falsifiable hypothesis and an unfalsifiable one?
A falsifiable hypothesis versus an unfalsifiable hypothesis.
Yeah, I don't think you understand the difference. Can you give me an example of the two?
Okay. An unfalsifiable hypothesis would be Archaeopteryx descended from theropod dinosaurs. In order to test this hypothesis, you're going to have the DNA of both the Archaeopteryx and the theropod dinosaur so that you can test them to see whether or not that's true. Because the DNA will certainly tell you whether or not the theropod dinosaur ever gave way to the Archaeopteryx. On the other hand, if you don't have the DNA for that, it becomes an untestable hypothesis. So it's an unfalsifiable. You can't falsify it. Therefore, it's not even science. To say Archaeopteryx descended from theropod dinosaur is not a scientific statement. It's a statement of faith.
Wouldn't there be other observations predicted by that hypothesis?
What?
No, I'm asking you.
Like what? Give me an example.
No, I'm asking you. Wouldn't there be other predictions made?
Other predictions made what?
Besides its DNA.
What? I'm saying the only way to test it is through its DNA.
And I'm asking you, wouldn't there be
a falsification? You obviously don't know what a falsification process is.
Of course I do.
It's a series of
prediction made
tests.
by the hypothesis.
No, it is a series of stringent tests.
It's a prediction.
They have the capability of proving the actual hypothesis wrong. If you don't have a specific test that has the capacity,
prediction if by you the don't hypothesis.
James, I'm going to need that 30 seconds.
That is also time. So what I want to do before we start,
didn't even get my questions, right?
T, finish your last question, and then Eric, I'm going to give you 20 seconds to respond. Then it'll be your time, Eric, to ask questions, and T will answer.
Right. I was trying to ask for an example of a falsifiable and falsifiable hypothesis, and what I got was a hypothesis which he only made one prediction about, but of course it would make other predictions for its falsification. So I don't know what that's about, right? So I'm just trying to get here. Let me do it this way. I'm going to give you two hypotheses. Which one is the falsifiable and which one is the unfalsifiable one? All men are mortal. All men are immortal. Which one of those is the falsifiable hypothesis, and which one of those is unfalsifiable?
Well, I would say that they're pretty much all falsifiable. All men are mortal. You would have to kill all men to find out. But
so it's an unfalsifiable hypothesis.
No, it's falsifiable if you're willing to kill everybody.
So not to cut you guys too short, but I want to make sure we keep it going. Appreciate you guys, the civility. It's gotten much better. Eric, it'll now be your chance to ask you the questions, but as remember, try to give him at least 30 seconds to answer, okay? And we can go start now, Eric, buddy.
Well, I would like to do this because I don't think that I'm going to get a chance to do this otherwise. I want to take T's method here and show us a few things here. T wants us to accept the fact that you can take the simple.
Now, just my apologies there. I paused your time while I'm discussing this with you for a second.
Right.
This is the opportunity for you to ask questions. Now, you don't technically have to ask questions during this 10-minute period.
Right.
Sorry, was there a question there?
So just keep that in mind.
Right. Yeah, I don't have to ask questions. Exactly.
You do lose that opportunity to ask
the Q&A.
Right. I can also take 10 minutes just to go through this, right?
No. This is the Q&A part.
So technically, T, he could. It just means that he's rejecting the questions, and there's really nothing at that point.
That's right. I can ask questions in my next round.
I would recommend
here's what I want to do here. I'd just like my 10 minutes.
Wait, are we going? Hold on. Are we going off format now?
Just to say this. No. I'm just I'm doing what you did.
Hold on. I just want to be clear though. Like, if you forego your questions and you don't ask questions, you do lose that opportunity. And I will just say, from the perception of the audience, they get that you don't want to ask him any questions.
I'll be happy to ask him in my next round. Yes, we've got 2 rounds.
What are you talking about?
So what he is trying to do here, if I can have my 10 minutes, so we can start now.
No, you don't. You already had your 10 minutes. That was the starter.
So I paused it for a quick second too.
You already had your 10 minutes. That was the starter. This is the Q&A portion.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So in the Q&A portion, if he doesn't ask questions and he monologues, technically he can do that, but I would just recommend not doing that because it gives the appearance of you don't have questions.
Oh, I have plenty of them. I'm willing to reserve them to the last, though. It won't take many.
Then we'll skip the last of it. Ask your question.
But then also, too, if you do this, then T during if he chooses to do 10 minutes just to lay in and address you, he can do that as well. So
that's fine. Sure. Okay. Absolutely.
Right.
Okay. So what T wants to do is he wants to disguise.
Oh my God, we're not. This is not a question. Ask me a question.
James, would you please mute him while I speak?
So this has happened before in the past, T. We're
not doing another 10-minute opening here. Just ask me a question.
It's within his right to just not ask questions and just go off, but then you get to ask questions or go off on your next round.
Thank you. So you might have to mute T so I can speak this.
Go ahead and continue with that.
Okay. So what T wants to do, let me tell you guys something. When we first started this, The question was basically what we're asking now, abiogenesis versus biogenesis. And he came out with this. He says, here's the question I want to debate. When chemicals mix together, they often find a more stable state. This can lead to the formation of bigger, more complicated molecules that are useful for certain things. Nature chooses the ones that are most helpful for survival, and over time, these molecules get even more complicated, eventually forming complex systems. Unquote. Now, he said that's the question he wanted to debate. And I informed him. I said, that's not abiogenesis. And he swore that it was. This is abiogenesis. So I took it to Google's Gemini. And I asked it,
what are we doing here? This is not a question.
What does this mean? James,
this is just grandstanding. What's going on, James?
So it says, it went on
James,
to say.
James, he promised me he would mute him if he went off.
It went on to say. It went on to say.
James, please mute him if he's going to go off format and get him to ask me a question. This is ridiculous.
James, you said we would have our time on.
So let me pause this again.
You're not asking a question.
So technically, in this period, if he chooses not to ask questions, he can talk. But I just don't think it's good for him ultimately. But it's his decision. So we just have to kind of mute you and I, let him get through it. If he doesn't ask a question, he loses out on that ability to push back on you.
So here's what Gemini says. Gemini says,
again, we're not doing this.
Gemini says you're absolutely right. The process you
James,
described,
I'm going to need you to go ahead and
while
mute
fascinating and important.
Okay,
because I just need to be asked a question, right? Otherwise, this isn't a debate.
If we are at a point where we can't go past,
we agreed to a format, and now he's just going off format.
I'll turn this into a question. I'll turn this into a question.
When?
So we're being told that you're absolutely right. This is from Gemini, Google's AI. It says you're absolutely right. The process you described, which was T's question, verbatim, just the way he asked it. The process you described, while fascinating and important, is not abiogenesis itself. Instead, it's a crucial precursor to abiogenesis, which is what I've said all along.
That's what I've said all along.
It is necessary for all of these lesser, simple organisms, simple things, to become more complex in order for abiogenesis to be correct. But the question is, does it go on to produce life? And no, it does not.
Well, that's not the topic.
Well, that may not be your topic.
No, that's not the topic we agreed to debate.
So anyway, you tell us, T.
There wasn't a question.
Is there ever a time when this resulted in the creation of life?
Yeah, 2 billion years ago or so.
Okay, can you prove that there was a time where this ended in the creation of life?
Yeah, we don't prove things with science; we demonstrate them.
Pardon me, but science proves things every single day. Science proves that we can put men on the moon.
Sorry, that wasn't a question.
Science has proven that we can put unmanned Mars
That's
missions.
not a question.
And we can land our robots on Mars.
Also not a question.
Science also proves that medical issues can be taken care of. Medicine can actually do your heart rate, your blood pressure. Science proves all of this.
Yeah.
Science doesn't prove what you're trying to say.
Yeah, according to you, science proves that chemicals fall into lower energy states
prove
and form more complex macromolecules.
You're interrupting
the formation of complex.
You're interrupting me.
Yeah, because you're not asking a question.
I am.
No, you're not.
I am.
No,
and you're not answering it. Science proves that you cannot create life.
No,
Science proves that you've been unable to do so far.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, then show us where you have.
No, I said it doesn't prove.
I remember the time you were in the chat room with Johnny Halls and myself and so many other people.
He's going off
and you were sitting there declaring that you worked with a doctor that created life.
Seriously?
You've actually stated that fact, that you created life. Now, was there ever a time when you created life with any other doctor?
Yeah, when I had sex with my wife.
Was there ever a time that you successfully recreated the steps of abiogenesis like you said you had?
What are you talking
Did that
about?
time ever occur?
Eric, if you ask him the question like you just did, you have to give him at least 30 seconds uninterrupted to respond. Go ahead.
Okay. He may have that 30 seconds to respond.
I said I don't know what you're talking about.
So he asked a question concerning a time that he claims you in a chat claimed to create life, and he's asking if you stand by that, made that, didn't make that.
There are people in those chats we were in, the many times you said it, that heard you say that. So
that's. I
still don't know what you're talking about.
Eric, we want
to.
Okay,
so you deny?
His response is
I don't know what you're talking about, Eric.
Do you deny saying that then, T?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so you never said that you worked with another doctor and you helped create life in a lab.
I never said anything of this.
Well, other people heard you say that, but that's okay. So now you don't
Obviously
make that claim anymore,
right? I mean,
now,
I get
was there ever a time? Is there ever a time, T, that you can point to us a reference where life was created in a lab, or life was created through some sort of form of abiogenesis that was observed in nature?
You mean artificial life?
No, life.
Yeah, artificial life, like in the lab.
No, life. You're changing the question. James, he's changing the question.
I'm not changing the question. I'm getting clarification.
Make him answer the question, please, James.
As we discussed before the debate,
clarification is: do you mean the natural process by which life forms by chemicals on prebiotic Earth?
Would you just have
or do you mean the process by which scientists create life?
As we discussed, the person, sorry, team, my apologies, 1 point of moderation.
As we discussed,
the person answering the question can answer it any way they wanted. If you didn't like the answer after this 30 seconds, then you can restate the question.
Okay, what I'm asking is, T, can you point us to any instance where life was either observed to be recreated in a lab through a process of abiogenesis, or a natural event outside of the lab in nature? Has abiogenesis ever been observed? Yes or no?
Okay, so I already pointed at the fact that we don't observe.
Yes or no?
Excuse me. I thought I got
yes or no. It's a yes or no
question. Eric, once again, we agreed before the debate that the other person will get 30 seconds.
I don't know what happened.
Answer the question.
He'll get 30 seconds. Could you ask him to begin with a yes or a no?
Eric, as we discussed, one second, point of moderation.
I know what you're
As we discussed, he gets 30 seconds to answer uninterrupted.
I already pointed at the fact that, we don't observe 2 billion years ago. We observe the present and the forensic.
So redirect.
That was not 30 seconds.
Well,
that was not 30
seconds. I muted you for a hot second. We did agree 30 seconds.
That was never 30 seconds. I already pointed at the fact that we don't observe 2 billion years or whatever it was ago. We observe the present and the forensic evidence that chemicals fall into lower energy states, forming more complex macromolecules, leading to increasingly complex chemical structures, which are selected for their functionality by their environment. We observe that today, Eric. See it happening all the time, right?
Okay, there's your answer. So now you didn't answer. What I'm asking you,
did I not answer?
Can you give us one single instance of abiogenesis being observed in nature or recreated in a laboratory? Yes or no?
I already told you that, we don't.
You did not answer that question. James,
I thought I got 30 seconds to answer the question.
James, would you ask him to answer the question?
Okay, I'm going to put a pause on the
If you want to be biased, that's okay, James.
Eric, it is not biased. You and I agreed that during this and even during the prep, it might even be on this video, that we would give the other person at least 30 seconds to respond.
Yes.
You don't have to like his response, but you have to give him 30 seconds and you can restate it if you don't feel he answered it. But I will I will not mod biasly and debate for you during the debate, Eric. I will not try to tell him or demand that he answer the question.
I'm asking you to hold him. I'm asking
Eric, we had an agreement, Eric.
James, if you don't want to make him answer the question.
Eric, I had to mute you for a second as a point of moderation, buddy. We had an agreement that he could answer the question any way he wants. You can answer the question any way he wants. Get at least 30 seconds to answer. You can restate your question if you don't feel he's answering. You can even tell that. But what you can't do is accuse me of bias and then demand that I debate for you and try to force him to answer a question in a particular way. All right, you may continue asking questions.
I'm just give my answer for first? Yes or no.
Can I give my answer?
James, he's not answering the question. That's the problem.
Eric, please restate your question.
What I'm asking is, have we ever observed abiogenesis occur in nature? Or have we ever observed abiogenesis occur in a laboratory?
And I already pointed at the fact that we don't observe what occurred 2 billion years ago.
In other words, no. The answer is
Excuse me,
no.
I didn't get 30 seconds there.
Eric, we agreed on the 30 seconds, buddy, to give him a chance.
James, would you have him answer the question I'm asking?
Also, wasn't the agreement.
Once again, I'm going to state this one more time.
Okay, he doesn't have to.
He can answer it every once. He can actually say the Pledge of Allegiance.
He doesn't have to.
It would be on the audience to see that he's not answering the question. You can state he's not answering it, but you cannot ask for the moderator to tell him to answer the question in a particular way, buddy. I cannot be biased. I won't let him do that to you, and I can't let you do that to him.
Well, you see, there's the difference, James. I'm willing to answer a yes or no question.
Seconds, right?
But that's okay.
You are welcome, Eric, to answer any question the way you want. You've also got 40 seconds left when I start the timer in a second.
That's okay. My time's gone. Go ahead.
Yeah.
All right, and then you've got 40 seconds. Go ahead.
That's all right. I concede it.
He's asked the question twice now. I'd like to answer it. Right?
No, I'm done. You're not going to answer
you asked the question twice. I'd like to.
Okay, so Eric, if you're conceding the rest of your time, it's now T's 10 minutes. T is also, like you were allowed in the previous rounds, to make a statement before you asked a question. So now we're going to start with T's question or statement, and then you will respond once he asks you a question, please. Cool. Go ahead, T.
Yeah, I was just answering the question, right? I've already pointed out the fact that that we don't observe 2 billion years ago, we observed the forensic evidence in the present, which is that chemicals fall down into lower energy states, right? Then there's additional forensic evidence regarding the actual chemical pathways that occurred, right? But the whole thing about we would never take any of those chemical pathways in the laboratory. That would be insane, Eric. That would be absolutely stupid. Right, and the reason for that is because laboratory conditions are very, very different than than prebiotic Earth conditions. Right, we might get some inspiration from it, certainly, but we would never, ever, 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 ever take the quote unquote abiogenesis chemical pathway in the laboratory. Right. It would just be, and maybe I'm speaking out of turn there, because maybe someday we will, just like we, want to climb mountains to see if we can, right? But it's not going to be efficient. It's not the way we actually do it. Now, if you want to discuss, want to change the topic to artificial life, that's fine. But it's not actually the topic of debate, right? The topic of debate here is that, old Earth provides better explanatory power, right? And in the initial phase, I pointed out that you don't know the difference between a falsifiable hypothesis and an unfalsifiable one. Of course, all men are immortal is an unfalsifiable hypothesis. You have to, or humans, right? You have to travel to the end of time to see the last human die or something, right? That's not a falsifiable hypothesis. But all men are mortal. That's a trivially falsifiable hypothesis, right? The only observation required to falsify that one is one dead dude, and the hypothesis is falsified, right? Because now we know, all men are immortal, and that would be the falsifiable hypothesis. And all men are mortal, and you can't travel to the end of time to see the last guy die, right? So, in the same way, the hypothesis that you put forth would definitely predict more evidence besides DNA. So there would definitely be other falsification criteria which would demonstrate the hypothesis false that you're just ignoring. So I don't really care about, that. What I'm much more interested in is the actual topic of debate today, which is old Earth versus naturalism. What your claim was that I believe old Earth has better explanatory virtue when you don't even know what explanatory virtues are, right? And I mentioned a few and kind of just shrugged, right? So let's get back to the questions. With regards to explaining the process by which life emerged, is it your claim that God is the explanation?
Yes.
So wouldn't that in turn entail that God is itself alive?
Yes.
Okay. So God has, a heart and a bloodstream and other things of that, other metabolic processes?
Jesus does.
No, God, I said.
Well, Jesus is also God.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm a little confused here. I asked the question about God.
I know. Yes.
You're saying Jesus started
is also
life or
God.
God started life?
Jesus created all things.
Sorry.
By him were all things created, the scripture said.
Sorry. Are we talking about Jesus or are we talking about God?
Jesus is God.
Okay.
See, your ignorance here is speaking again.
Well, I know. I thought that Jesus was God's only begotten son last I checked, right?
Okay. How much time has passed so far, James?
I'm not interested in that. Wasn't the question.
I'm asking James.
It's my turn to ask questions.
Well, go right ahead.
We're 4 minutes in, but you are answering questions this round.
You are answering questions here, not asking.
I'm just checking. Go right ahead.
You're talking. No, you're speaking out of turn.
Feel free to ask.
You're again speaking out of turn.
Go right ahead.
Again, speaking out of turn.
So you go ahead and please ask your question, Eric.
I'm trying, but he's speaking out of turn, right? So, where was I? The whole thing here was you were saying that, there's some explanatory power. What was the explanation again?
What? What's your question?
For how life occurs?
You're asking me short,
disconnected that God is alive, right? God is undergoing metabolic processes?
No. Well, Jesus did.
Wasn't talking about Jesus.
Well, Jesus is God. So when you're talking about God, you're talking about Jesus in my book.
I'm not. I'm talking about God.
Well, Jesus is God. So there you go.
Okay. Let's just collapse the whole Jesus and God thing since they're the same thing. When I say God, I mean Jesus, right? So we don't have to get into that confusion, whatever that means, right? So you're saying God was alive, right?
God is alive, yes.
Yeah, God is undergoing metabolic processes.
I don't know about now, no.
God's dead?
No.
I'm sorry, can you just clarify?
God is alive. Yes, he resurrected.
So God is undergoing metabolic processes, right?
Oh, not necessarily. The scriptures tell us that as of right now, we know that he rose flesh and bone.
Well, what do you mean by alive then?
So, yeah, he rose from the dead, man.
What do you mean by alive?
Alive.
Yeah, undergoing metabolic processes, right?
No, not that I know of.
Well, then what do you mean by alive? Do you mean cellular division?
No, probably
replication?
Not. Probably not. I don't know.
Okay, so I mean, these what do you mean by alive?
Well, you see, the scripture says that what he is right now, we don't know, but we do know that when we rise from the dead, we're going to be like him.
But what do you?
We just don't know that much about. Yeah, we just don't know that much about.
Can you just give me a definition for alive, like the necessary components of being alive?
Conscious, yeah. Conscious.
That's it.
Conscious, intelligent. Well, that's one. I know he's that. He's up and walking
so you're
around.
Not talking about alive. You're talking about
conscious and intelligent. Well, of course.
Okay.
He was risen from the dead.
No, don't doctors refer to alive as like undergoing metabolic processes, cellular division, that type of thing?
Well, do they know that that's all life is?
I'm asking the question, Eric.
Do they know that's the only form of life?
I'm asking the question, Eric. Isn't that what doctors refer to?
You don't know that's the only form of life.
I'm asking the question, Eric. Is that what
I'm answering your question?
No, you're not.
Well, you're going to have to get used to it because that's your answer.
Don't they refer to it as like, that's the general process of being alive? So you don't mean that at all, do you?
No, I mean he's genuinely alive. Yes.
You don't mean alive though. You mean conscious.
Yes, I mean alive.
No, you mean conscious and intelligent, right? Okay.
Well, you pretty much got to be alive to be conscious.
No, I don't think that's true.
Well, show me one case where that's not true.
No, I didn't say. No, that's not my question.
Show me one case where anybody is
ask the questions,
conscious,
Eric,
and they're not alive.
James, can you mute him, please? He's asking me questions during my time.
Oh, that was the answer to your question.
James, can you mute him, please? He's asking me questions during my time.
I answered your question. Feel free to ask more.
James, can you please mute him?
If we could, please try to make sure your answer is not that form of a question, if we can, for both parties. go ahead and ask a clarification question to you, or another one if you would like. You have 2 minutes left.
Well, I'm just trying to, I'd like to reclaim some of my time there, because that was embarrassing, right?
I'm sure it was.
You're speaking out of turn again, Eric.
Please continue, guys.
I'm waiting to not be interrupted. When you said alive, you didn't actually mean alive. It turns out.
Yes, I mean alive.
When you said alive, you didn't actually mean.
Yes, I mean alive.
James, you promised me you would mute him during this.
Try to let him get out his full question, Eric, in case there might be a little bit more to it, buddy.
Well, he's starting it off with a straw man, James, a lie.
Yes, but even if his question is a bad question, or he's asking you about pink unicorns or anything, that's just him wasting his question time. Okay. So that would be up to him.
Go right ahead.
So when you said alive, you didn't actually mean alive. You just meant conscious and intelligent. Fine. So
no, I meant alive.
Holy shit. James, I'm going to ask you again to mute him.
Please try to let him get out his full question. T, I gave you 30 seconds back on the clock.
Yeah, I'm just, this is like going nowhere, right? So when you said not alive, when you said alive, you didn't actually mean you didn't mean alive, right? You meant conscious and intelligent, right? Which really has nothing to do with being alive, right? Things can be conscious and intelligent, not necessarily be alive, because they can be aware of and respond to their environment, and they can reason about it with regards to their interactions to it, right? The stimuli and their interactions. So let me ask this. What exactly is God?
God is the creator of all things, the creator that pre-existed all things. You see, one thing that we have to accept as truth is this: something had to be.
Thank you. That's sufficient. Thank you. That's sufficient. Thank you.
James, I thought I got 2 minutes to answer this.
No, you don't get 2 minutes to answer.
Or 30 seconds then.
Yeah, James, you've answered. Thank you.
I would like
I got my answer. Right. And I'm not asking about the
James, are you going to allow me to answer my question uninterrupted?
No, I'm asking what is God. I'm not asking the role that God is in. The role that God has.
You sided with T. Are you going to side with me now in the same thing? And let me answer my question.
I know. I'm asking you, what is God, not what role is God.
James, are you going to have him let me finish my...
T, let Eric get an answer now. Once Eric's done answering, then it'll go into Eric's time. Once you're done answering the question, Eric, about 30 seconds, let me know, and I'll start your last time of questions.
Thank you. Yes.
Wait. That was not 2.5 minutes.
To answer your question, God
I spent about 20 seconds asking that question. He's going to take up 30 seconds of it with his answer. I still got a minute and 10 left after that.
There was a lot of interruptions and back and forth.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I still got a minute and 10 left after that.
But I didn't give him...
I'll give him
extra time, but I ended up giving you 30 extra seconds this past round.
I'll give him the extra time, James. I just want to answer.
You just interrupted the entire time.
All right, so Eric is fine giving you an additional minute and a half for you to ask questions. So Eric, let's, if you don't mind, start fresh with T asking a question, and then you'll go from there. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Could I finish my question? Or
no, I'm going to ask the question,
James.
Let him ask a new, fresh question, Eric, just so we're back on the same page.
I don't get to answer the question. Are you kidding me?
No, we're taking the past minute where it's been interruptions. Ridiculous.
I would also give him an extra minute, but I wanted to answer the question.
Well, I will.
No.
I will let you address that as soon as you get to your beginning of your 10 minutes.
By then it's over, James. Never mind. Go ahead. You don't have to let me answer my question the way you let him answer his.
No, we
That's
don't.
Okay.
The question is, given that God is the creator of the universe and all things yada, as it says in Scripture, blah, blah, blah. Given that, what exactly is God? I understand that's the role that this thing is in, but what is the thing that we're talking about?
God is the living, intelligent, conscious creator of all that is.
Didn't I
the
just
one
say
that pre-existed? Don't interrupt me. The one that pre-existed everything else. And because
So
one thing has to be sure, and one thing has to be true. Something was the first thing. Something originated. Something existed first. Either this universe existed and always did,
you mean
or
like
there was a creator that existed and
you mean
always
like energy?
did. One of these two things had to happen. One of these things have to be true.
You mean like energy?
There is no third option.
You mean like
Either
energy?
this universe always was or God always was. So
You mean like energy, right?
So something existed first. The question is,
like energy.
Can something that doesn't have life pass on life?
Okay, so you can ask your question or the rephrasing of that in a minute, Eric. T, you have enough time to ask one more short question, and then Eric can get 30 seconds to answer it, and then it'll be Eric's time for questioning.
Mm-hmm. And how did God create life?
I don't know.
You don't have an explanation? So it has no explanatory power whatsoever?
Okay.
I don't know. He could have created it any way he chose.
Okay. So it has no explanatory power whatsoever. So that's the debate
that sounds like a clear answer to the question. The audience can decide whether or not the questions and answers so far as the periods have gone on have been informative or uninformative. That is for you to decide. This will now be Eric's 10 minutes of questions.
Mm-hmm.
Eric, you may begin now.
Can you point to a life that's ever been created in a lab, T?
Like, do I have one in my house? No.
So you can't.
No.
Can you point us a life that's ever been observed to have been created through some process of abiogenesis in nature? Can you show us
you mean like me, right?
No, I mean, can you point to a specific life form that's been observed to be created that way in nature?
You mean like me, right?
Well, you were not observed being born through some process of abiogenesis, were you?
Well, my cells weren't, the egg wasn't alive, right? It wasn't undergoing metabolistic processes. Or, I'm sorry, it was, according to you, not intelligent and conscious, right?
So
clearly, yeah.
So you want to, are you claiming that you were brought about through some sort of abiogenesis procedure?
Yeah, according to you, because it's a chemical process by which something that isn't intelligent or conscious became intelligent and conscious, right? Perfectly natural process. No problem.
Yeah, I think you're confused. So you think that abiogenesis is where something becomes intelligent?
No, I think abiogenesis is a research project into how life on Earth formed.
Oh, so abiogenesis isn't also the idea that life came from non-life?
It's not an idea, it's a research project.
Well, it's funny because that's not what this seems to say.
I don't care about that.
Abiogenesis, it says.
That's not a question.
You're interrupting me.
That's not a question.
It says you're interrupting me.
I'm
asking a question.
You did give him a chance to answer the previous question, Eric, and then you can go into the other one.
He answered, and he's had his 30 seconds.
Right, this is not a question.
Now, James, let him have his 30 seconds, James, and then I want my time uninterrupted, dude.
Yeah, but you need to ask a question, right?
Are you done with your 30 seconds, T?
Right. All I said is abiogenesis is a research project into how life on Earth formed, the formation of life on Earth, right? That's the idea there, is we're trying to figure out how did these complex chemical systems that are wandering around doing this really amazing thing going, I'm much more than a complex chemical system. How did that start? How did that form? How did that begin? What is the process? What is the origin?
Are you going to let
That's abiogenesis, right?
Okay, James, please.
T, that was the answer for your question. Eric, go ahead.
I'm going to read something here for you, James.
No, then you're going to ask a question, right?
It is his time, as we distinguished the last time, T, that he could read something or make a statement before asking a question.
All right. You want to grandstand? That's cool.
I ran this past Google's AI, and I want to ask you a question based on this answer. as I was discussing abiogenesis and biogenesis with Gemini, I asked it, so then we must conclude that biogenesis is superior to abiogenesis in its predictability and consistency with scientific observation today. And all I did is press enter, and it says yes. Based on the evidence available, biogenesis is more consistent with our current understanding of how life operates. Biogenesis, the principle that life arises from pre-existing life, is supported by countless observations of living organisms reproducing and passing on their genetic information.
Of course it is.
This principle is the cornerstone of modern biology.
Mm-hmm.
While abiogenesis remains a fascinating hypothesis, it has not been directly observed or recreated. Until we have more concrete evidence supporting abiogenesis, biogenesis provides a more reliable framework for understanding the origin and continuity of life on Earth. So my question to you is, do you agree with the AI?
No, because it doesn't explain anything about the origin.
What I'm asking is, listen to the question. Do you agree that it is the more reliable framework for understanding the origin and continuity of life on Earth, and if not, why?
I just said no, because it does not explain the origin.
What?
Biogenesis.
Of course it does.
No, it doesn't.
Of course it does.
No, it doesn't.
A life living before it, a previous life.
That's not an explanation for
what. Well, that's what it is. That's what biogenesis is.
But that's
all
not an
life comes from a previous living creature.
But that's not an explanation for what we observe.
What?
That's not an explanation for what we observe.
What are you talking about?
Well, okay. I'm talking about the fact that what we observe points at the suggestion that 2 billion years ago, there was not life on Earth.
How do you know that?
I'm sorry, I wasn't finished with my answer.
You don't know that. No, your 30 seconds is up, dude.
No, that was not 30 seconds.
You're making an assertion. Now prove that life
James,
began.
I get 30 seconds, and that was 7.
This is my questioning time.
James,
so
I
I'm
get 30
asking
seconds,
you,
and that was 7.
I'm asking you to prove that life began 2 billion years ago.
James, please,
how are you going to
please mute Eric so I can answer him the question.
How are you going
to
test 30 seconds?
That? James, please mute Eric so I can answer the question.
How do you test life?
James, please mute Eric so I can answer the question. James, please mute Eric so I can answer the question.
So trying to get to my mic so I can unmute, because I'm also taking care of something in the chat. I need you guys to do your best, and the time is currently paused at the moment, to stick by the agreed format. We don't have much longer left.
That's what I'm doing, James.
3.5 minutes.
No, it's not. You're not giving me 30 seconds to answer.
But you have to give them 30 seconds to answer, please. And you have to.
Well, I didn't get 30 seconds to answer mine,
yes, you
but
did.
That's okay, brother.
I did my best to give you 30 seconds and to make sure that T
did not. There was one whole question that you didn't even let me
answer. The whataboutism is irrelevant. Okay. You need to give me 30 seconds.
Eric, this whole entire thing has been a train wreck from start to finish, setting up and hosting.
Yes, it has.
I'm doing the best I can with two big personalities such as you and T.
I feel for you, brother. I sincerely mean that.
Okay, so, can we stop with the meta and give me my 30 seconds?
So what we're going to do is, just like when we reset on T, I'm going to reset this way. Eric, restate your question, and then T will give you an answer. Please give T 30 seconds to respond. Go ahead.
Okay. I would like for T to provide for us anything from any scientific literature at all that shows us that life has been created in a cell, or not in a cell, in a laboratory through abiogenesis, through a process.
You mean artificial life?
Or no, I mean life, dude.
No, you mean
James,
artificial life.
He keeps playing this little game, artificial life.
Let him get out the question, even if
I'm not asking about artificial life.
Yes, you are. You're saying in the lab.
So have him stop.
I'm stopping the time 1 more second. Look, T, please let him get out the question, even if you have issues with the question. and then he will give you 30 seconds uninterrupted. Well, Eric, even if you don't think he's answering the question, you will not interrupt either.
Yes. Well, let me start off by saying this, James. I'm not talking about artificial life. If abiogenesis ever worked, then it created life, not artificial life. That's the process of abiogenesis. We're not asking, did it create artificial life? We're asking, did it create life? So I'm not asking, did we create artificial life? I'm asking, have we ever created life, or have we ever seen life created in a natural environment through abiogenesis? And he knows what I'm asking, James. Again, he's taking advantage of your ignorance and trying to change the question. So what I'm asking is, T, can you point us to anything at all, any observation in a laboratory or in nature by which it has been observed that life was created through some form of abiogenesis?
So I've already answered this one repeatedly.
You haven't answered this one at all.
Oh my God! Wow, what happened?
I'm waiting on you now.
Eric, please don't interrupt and let T answer, even if you don't think he's answering.
We'll tell him to answer.
No, please repeat the question, because you interrupted me, and I'm not sure what it is you want from me.
James got the question.
No, please repeat the question.
If you don't want to answer, he don't have to answer.
No, please repeat the question.
We'll let the audience decide if that's a non-answer. Eric, if you want to restate that same question or another one, go ahead.
Well, we know that he doesn't want to answer because the answer is no. He has never observed abiogenesis in nature or in a laboratory, regardless of the fact that he claimed to have done so a couple of years ago in front of roomfuls of people. So there we go. The answer
T, you got to let Eric refinish the stating of his question again.
Yeah, Eric, he isn't asking a question.
Yeah. Has he ever, James, this is so easy. It's a yes or a no. Can he provide us a citation that abiogenesis has been observed to occur in nature, or that it's been recreated in a laboratory?
So I already pointed out, in the last Q&A, when you asked this exact same question, I already answered this, and you interrupted me repeatedly, that, we don't observe 2 billion years ago when abiogenesis occurred. We observe the present and the forensic evidence for it, right?
Yes,
and then if we want to talk about, I wasn't done. Okay, I got interrupted.
You keep asserting that it occurred 2 billion years ago.
Weird that I got interrupted again. Strange. I'm not sure why.
It's too bad that you can't prove that it occurred 2 billion years ago either. You can
not
only
sure why I got
it.
interrupted in the middle of my answer there. I was like,
well, you can only assert it. So go on. Reframe
like
this any way you like.
It's like 15 seconds in and I got interrupted.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, am I going to get 30 seconds, James? Because that would be nice.
All right. So that is time. We're going to let T start by answering this. And then in the answer of starting to this, we're going to go into the 20-minute rumble, where I hope you guys will be respectful, not overtalk each other, engage before we get to the 10 minutes of questions. So T, go ahead and start by answering that, and then we're going to enter into this period.
Okay. So as I was saying, I've already pointed out repeatedly, and during the last Q&A session when you asked this exact same question, that we don't observe 2 billion years ago. We observe the present and the forensic evidence for it, like like chemicals falling into lower energy states, forming more complex macromolecules. Right. That's what we observe with regards to abiogenesis. With regards to the formation of life in the laboratory, that research project is called the Artificial Life Research Project. It's the project by which scientists create life in the laboratory. Nothing to do with abiogenesis, although there is obviously overlap there, in that both are chemical pathways which result in organic processes which are undergoing metabolic autocatalytic chemical reactions in order to maintain their homeostasis with their environment. Right. That's what they have in overlap there. That's what they both have in common. So they obviously were going to do a lot of domain knowledge transfer there, but they're obviously two different research projects.
And Eric, like I said, this is the 20-minute open. where you guys get to go back and forth and engage.
Well, I don't even know if there's even going to be any sense in going through this, because I don't think that you're going to get much out of it, but we'll see.
No, we'll see how long it takes
he keeps wanting to call life artificial life.
No, it's not
I don't call myself artificial life.
I don't call it artificial life. I call it life.
I don't call James artificial life.
I don't call it artificial life. I call it life.
I don't call you artificial life.
I don't call it artificial life.
And yet you're talking about what would be brought forth, and yet you're calling it artificial life.
No, I'm not. I'm calling it
brought forth through some sort of form of biogenesis.
No, I'm not. I'm calling
Well, you just called it artificial life.
No, I called the research project artificial life.
You mean artificial life?
No, that's the research project. No, that's the research project. You weren't listening, were you?
Oh, yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah. The
but
research project by which we bring about life, by which we bring about life.
They might be researching in another area how to bring forth artificial life.
Yeah,
but that's
life,
not.
But by which we bring forth life in the laboratory. By which we bring forth life in the laboratory, right? Life in the laboratory. That's called artificial life. That's called, the research project is called artificial life, and it brings forth life. Just plain old, regular life, right? That's what that is.
James, I don't think this is going to work out, buddy, because he's not going to let a sentence go through, even though I will. I'm kind enough
to correcting you, that's all.
But he's not going to be kind
enough. This is the period of time where you guys.
Well, yeah. I'm going to tell you something, James. I'm really disappointed that you've let him go by without answering questions.
I still don't know what a God is.
What?
I still don't know what a God is.
Well, everybody else.
I will state once again that before we all started, we had agreed upon structure. We had agreement from both parties to not cut each other either off, to give them 30 seconds to answer. We had agreement that even if they didn't answer the question the way you want, you would still want them to answer the question. We had no agreement, though, that I would debate for any of the participants or start demanding that somebody.
I'm not asking you to debate for anybody, James. So I'm asking you to regulate to somebody. Eric, I'm asking you if somebody is regulated.
I'm as a moderator speaking, Eric.
Yes.
Your thoughts about my moderation aside, you're welcome to them, and that's fine. But that's not going to be conducive to the dialogue between you and T. You and T are going to win on substance alone, not claiming biased moderation. Both of you have interrupted. Both of you have been very heated. Both of you have been contentious. If you do not want to do this period of like back and forth, that's fine. We'll move to questions. Call it a day.
I'm just saying, James, that if you can't hold somebody to a yes or no question when they're being asked a yes or no question, and you're going to let them ramble on for 30 seconds or a minute of BS, and that's just a waste.
Once again, in the discussion we had and in the moderation, it was very clear that somebody could ramble on and do whatever they wanted, and if they didn't answer your question, you could restate it, or the audience would decide they didn't. There was never in any of our negotiations, Eric, that I would debate for you or demand a yes or no.
I'm not asking you to debate for me,
but I will not debate for you, my friend.
I'm not asking you to.
This crying about debate, moderation.
I'm not crying.
Good, buddy. I would
I'm
really
just saying. I'm just saying. If somebody is asking a
yes, you're just crying. I get it.
Or we call it an end of the debate. Well, Eric, I've never in any moderation ever had somebody stop, lay into my moderation at the level that you have, when I've been very clear and I've held very strict to the rules. T has been frustrated with me at times. You've been frustrated with me at times because I'm sticking to the agreed upon rules to the best of my ability. If you don't like that, my advice for you is to next time to agree to different sets of rules. Now, if you want to continue with this,
my questions,
but if you are done, you are done, and let me know.
My question, James, was yes or no.
And once again, as per the agreement that we had before, he could answer Pinocchio. You could answer Pinocchio. That was for the audience to then say the person was not answering the question.
Well,
there
then
was
don't you
in our pre-debate moderation that I would debate for somebody and demand a yes or no question here.
James, wouldn't it be on you then to at least advise that they're not answering the question?
I have advised you both to answer the question to the best of your ability, Eric. And if you choose to answer a question a different way, that's fine. But it is not for me as a moderator to switch the agreed upon moderation rules in the middle of the debate.
You don't think it's fair to acknowledge that he's not answering the question that was asked?
These were the agreed upon rules.
It would also be not fair, Eric, for me to then tell you in the middle of the debate. Eric, for me, it's not fair for me in the middle of the debate to start taking a side and say, you win or T's winning or somebody's
well, then why did you let him keep interrupting me, James?
You kept interrupting him as well, Eric.
Yeah, and you stopped me every time I did.
I stopped T as well, Eric.
No, I don't believe you did, and not many times you didn't.
Eric, I'll just give you this last opportunity. Would you like to continue the last 15 minutes of your dialogue without discussing the moderation, or would you like to go to questions?
I still don't know what a God is, so you could definitely tell me what the fuck you're talking about.
So you guys good to continue?
I am. I want to know what a God is.
Yeah, I've answered that. A God is the
told me
creator.
Like roles that this thing has.
A God is the creator of all that is.
That's a role.
Pre-existent form.
It's a thing. That's something the thing.
Now he's interrupting my answer again.
Right. This is the rumble part.
Part of the debate. This is the kind of free for all where you guys will interrupt each other, and it was agreed to in this open back and forth.
Okay.
It's different than the question period.
Okay.
Now, if this period degenerates to where you guys can't manage to debate back and forth, then I will set it to where it's 30 seconds him, 30 seconds you. I would prefer not to do it because I think the debate goes better when two sensible debaters are coming together and allowing each other to speak. But that is up to you guys.
Yeah, I know all the roles, right? You've given me all the things that the thing has done, but I still don't know what the thing is. If you could just point me at the thing, then I would understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, the pre-existent creator of all that is.
Yeah, if you could just point me at that thing. What is that thing?
Yeah.
Can you point me at that thing, Eric?
Yeah, ask him if he exists.
No, I said, can you point me at that thing?
Mm-hmm. Ask him if he exists.
I'm asking what the thing is that exists.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what does this have to do with anything? You know what God is.
Okay, so to be clear, I don't know what God is.
Okay.
My only conception of God comes from fiction. And there's lots of different conceptions within fiction. Right? Do we agree to that?
Well, go ahead.
Well, like, for example, Thor from the MCU movies, that's called a god. It's obviously a fictional character, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we see it on the TV screen. It's played by an actor. That's the fictional character I'm talking about. Right?
Are you ignorant of the Christian God?
The fictional character? Yeah, I've read the
Are
Bible.
you ignorant of the Christian God, yes or no?
I said I've read the Bible and I know the fictional character.
What fictional character?
The fictional character called God in the Bible.
Prove he's a fictional character.
No. I don't have to
prove he's a fictional character. You're charging he is. Now prove it.
No, I don't have to prove something.
Well, you have to if you're going to stand on that. Otherwise, you don't have a sensible question.
My position. Hear me out here, right? When I talk about something like Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer, I'm talking about something that's a fictional character. Now, that fictional character might be inspired by an actual person, right? In exactly the same way the fictional character is depicted in the Bible was inspired by an actual person, Jesus of Nazareth, a Galilean Jew, right?
How is an Old Testament God pictured as Jesus when Jesus wasn't born yet? You're wrong.
So what I'm pointing at here is when I refer to a fictional character, I'm not claiming that it's not based on actual things, right? An actual character.
Are you claiming that the Christian God of the Old Testament is based on Jesus?
No.
What are you claiming? You're making no sense at all.
I'm asking you, in the same way that I can, talk about Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer and then point at Abraham Lincoln the president, right? The thing that it's actually based upon, the fictional character, different than the actual thing, right? I'm asking you to point me at the actual thing. I know about the fictional character in the Bible. I'm asking you to point me at the actual God.
Which fictional character in the Bible?
God, Yahweh.
Okay, how is he fictional in the Bible?
Asking you to point me at the actual
How
thing,
is he fictional? I'm not aware of a fictional God in the Bible.
I'm asking you to point me at the actual thing, right?
Well, show me this fictional God.
What
fictional God are you talking about? Prove that God is fictional.
No, I'm asking you to point me at the thing that the Bible's referencing, right? The Bible's a book. It's not God itself. It's referencing something called God, right? We agree to that? Okay. Point me at the thing it's referencing.
How am I going to point to something that is omnipresent?
I don't know what that means.
I can. You don't know what omnipresent means?
No.
Omnipresent means he's everywhere.
I don't
it's
know
like
what that
dark
means.
matter, dark energy. Dark energy.
I don't know what that means, though, right?
You don't know what omnipresent means.
Well, dark energy isn't everywhere, so no.
Well, I'm sorry, but dark energy is omnipresent.
No,
anybody, listeners, let me tell you something. Google dark energy and omnipresent, and see how many science articles come up that tell you that dark energy is omnipresent.
Well,
There's no place in the universe that it doesn't exist.
Let's go with that as an analogy.
And it's because dark matter, or dark energy rather, is omnipresent that they say it is the reason that our universe is currently expanding.
Okay, so let's go with that as an analogy, right? Let's go with that as an analogy.
No, I'm waiting for you to prove that God is a fictional character.
No, let's go with that as an analogy. I think that works, right? Here we have a thing which, has a specific attribute. How do we know that dark energy is omnipresent?
They extrapolate that it's omnipresent because of gravitational lensing and because of the fact that the universe is expanding. And it's not just expanding, or what gets the scientists is that it's expanding at an accelerating rate when it should be slowing down. It should be dying down, but it's not.
Due to gravity.
But it seems to be expanding, accelerating as it expands, and that would be impossible.
So these are all falsifiable hypotheses.
You asked me, yeah. So what we're doing, we're looking at things, and they can't explain what is making this acceleration pick up. Why is the expanding universe accelerating? And they have extrapolated that it's because of dark energy. That dark energy is pushing it out at an accelerating rate. And that's because it is omnipresent.
Okay, so what I understood you to say, and please correct me if this is not your position, that we know dark energy is omnipresent because there is a model within physics that makes specific predictions, and those predictions are observed. Therefore, if the predictions would falsify, if not observed, would falsify the hypothesis. Therefore, the hypothesis seems to be accurate. Is that your position?
Which hypothesis?
The dark energy hypothesis. The dark energy hypothesis.
The fact that it is expanding the. You know what I really get about this?
No, omnipresent. Right?
Yeah. Let me tell you what I find so amazing about this. Because if
you understand, correct, Eric?
If you understand, you're not far from it. If you understand the present model of the universe, the most popular model of the universe,
I do.
Then you understand that it begins with Big Bang.
No, it doesn't.
Do you understand the problems with Big Bang?
Yeah, it does. That's not true, though. But
do you understand?
I understand the problems with the Big Bang.
What are the problems with Big Bang? Would you say?
I'm not really interested in that discussion.
Okay, let me name them for everybody that's listening.
I was actually trying to figure out what the analogy
I'm
God
about to give it to you.
Right?
I'm about to give it to you.
Good. What's the hypothesis for God?
So, what I'm going to do is draw this out for everybody.
What's the hypothesis for God?
You're interrupting. I understand you don't want people to understand.
No, I want to bring it back to the discussion,
folks.
Right?
I'm going to lay this out for everybody, and we'll see how T answers it. You see, this all began with Big Bang, when we noticed that.
What all began? Wait. What all began with Big Bang?
It appears our current model of the universe, our current most popular model of the universe, is built on Big Bang. But you see, Big Bang.
What do you mean? But what does that
Big
do with
Bang has its problems, folks. And some of these problems keep Big Bang from working out. Those problems are called flatness and horizon. Now, to explain these, flatness and horizon, what flatness means is that if you really did have a Big Bang in a vacuum, then if it's going to be pushing outward, it's going to be pushing outward at equal pressure in all directions. And so it should have created a ball, something like a ball. We should have a round universe. But the WMAP readings that the background radiation tests proved that our universe isn't a sphere.
It recombined unevenly.
It appears to be flat.
It recombined unevenly.
Yeah. So they don't know why this is.
Right.
And they can't make it work out mathematically. Now, horizon is this. Horizon is the fact that when you stretch out the universe, you have parts of the universe that are so far apart it exceeds the time limit of or the alleged age of this universe. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
And so there you go. Flatness and horizon made it to where mathematically, and that's the only way they had to test this universe, the Big Bang at the beginning was through mathematics, and they couldn't get it to work out because of flatness and horizon. Right. Now that's where Dr. Alan Guth comes in, theoretical physicist from MIT, and Guth postulated in you can look this up, Dr. Alan Guth, 1980, 1981. He wrote it in 1980, and it was published in 81. And it is his explanation to attempt to explain or fix the problems of flatness and horizon. And he goes on to explain that if the Big Bang could have been massively hot and massively fast, and then threw on the brakes all of a sudden and slowed down in its expansion at an incredible rate, that it could have massively cooled super fast and collapsed in on itself, thus giving us a flat universe. But he goes on to say, if you read the abstract and you go to the very last line of the abstract, he says, but this didn't work out. The mathematics of this leads us into unacceptable consequences. So we need to do further work, thereby falsifying his own theory there. Yeah, so what he did at that point, he put together a group of theoretical physicists. Michio Kaku was one, and they wrapped it all up in string theory. And then they came out in about 1983, mixing it up with string theory, and a bunch of scientists jumped on, and they were all excited. But at the same time, a bunch of scientists like Peter Woit jumped off from Columbia University. And he actually began to wage a campaign against the current most popular model of the universe, saying that it's not even testable. It's not even science anymore, guys. And so him and a group of, and several others, they kept falling off. But eventually, Kaku and the other men said, hang on. We're going to get CERN to where we may not be able to directly test this, but we can test the predictions. One of the predictions that were made through this was string theory, multi-universes, and etc. Or supersymmetry, I mean.
Is this going somewhere?
Yes, it is.
Where is this going?
At CERN, you guys can look this up too.
Eric, this is just a history lesson.
From 2012 through 2015, CERN was upgraded 3 times during that period of time.
We know this is just a history lesson.
Because they kept testing for supersymmetry, and it kept failing. And they kept saying, well, if we can just make it a little bit stronger, we can find supersymmetry. But
it didn't keep failing. That's not true.
Supersymmetry, yes, single time.
No, that's not true.
They never discovered supersymmetry. As a matter of fact,
what
guys,
do you mean they never discovered supersymmetry?
You can also Google this.
What are you talking about?
Supersymmetry fails, causing men to seek a better theory of everything, and that was regarding the tests at CERN.
Yeah,
because they couldn't verify supersymmetry at CERN, and so they can't verify the string theory, and therefore every aspect of your current most popular theory of the universe has fallen apart.
That's not even. We're not even talking about like the current most popular theory of the universe.
You've got absolutely nothing propping it up except for this.
We're not even. That's not even
the last
current
thing propping up.
Holy
our
shit!
Most popular model of the universe is this: dark matter and dark energy.
Exactly. So that brings us to lambda cold dark energy.
Let's consider what they're actually observing.
Oh my God! Does this ever end, Eric?
They're actually observing an expanding universe.
Okay, Eric, I'm going to end it here.
Observing.
Right? Eric, stop.
They are observing.
Eric, stop. No. You've gone on for 10 minutes now. Stop.
This is a discussion.
Eric, where is this going? Skip to the end.
Well, I'm coming to it. So what they have observed, what they state now, is that all of this, everything that fell apart and everything that failed, it's answered because of dark matter and dark energy, because they've noticed a force and they're saying it's this force that's fixing it all, that made it all happen.
What's the point, Eric?
They're saying that this force is expanding the universe at an accelerating rate.
Now?
Plus, it's holding the universe together in a really weird way, because our galaxies should have flown apart.
Yeah, Eric, that's great. Right. Eric, you've monologued for 10 minutes now. You've monologued for 10 minutes. You've given us a great history lesson.
If you don't want to hear the rest of the story,
here's the thing, Eric.
Here's the thing.
No, Eric, you're done. Here's the thing. I want to respond.
No, I'm not done.
I want to respond, Eric. No, I want to respond, Eric. No, I want to respond, Eric. No, I want to respond, Eric. I want to respond, Eric. No, you've monologued for 10 minutes.
This is an omnipresent.
No, you've monologued for 10 minutes. I want to respond now.
Omnipotent over the universe.
No. I want to respond, Eric.
It is.
No, I want to respond, Eric.
And acts just exactly like the Christian God.
Eric, I want to respond, though.
Over 12 scriptures.
Holy fuck! I want to respond, though, Eric.
This is the God.
This is not a dialogue. This is just you monologuing.
Psalms and Isaiah all
say.
Holy
fuck! Nobody knows what the fuck you're saying.
This is the God that expanded the universe.
Eric, okay, great. Thank you, Eric.
That expands the universe like
Thank you, Eric. Thank you very much.
That's stated 12 times in the Old Testament.
Thank you. Got it. Can I respond now, please?
3,500 years before your scientists said dark matter and dark energy
can I respond
is
now,
an
please?
invisible, omnipresent force that's stretching out the universe like a curtain and holding it all together. Colossians 1:16 says that it's the Lord Jesus Christ that's holding together the entire universe. What happened to
you were going to let us go 30 seconds here? Because he just grandstanded for 10
minutes.
Right?
Nobody said anything about 30 seconds. He put us out here on our own to fight this out.
No, James, you said you would actually moderate.
Now explain to me
he just
how these things
for
do
10
not
minutes
resemble the Christian God of the Old Testament.
Can I respond yet?
Go right ahead.
Okay.
How do these things not resemble the Christian God?
Thank you so much for 10 minutes of history lesson regarding cosmology and the evolution
You're welcome.
of. Excuse me, I wasn't done. Thank you so much for 10 minutes.
This is a discussion where we can interrupt one another.
Can I respond, please?
Go right ahead.
Well, you keep on interrupting, so I'm not sure what's going on.
You interrupted me. No big deal.
Can I respond?
You may finish.
I'm waiting. Thank you so much for 10 minutes of history lesson regarding the.
You're very welcome. My pleasure.
All righty, we are actually.
No, excuse me, James. No, excuse me. He just monologued for 10 minutes. I asked you to stop him several times. You told me you would break this up.
That wasn't the rule to this, and you know it.
Well,
I'd like an opportunity to actually respond without being interrupted. I think that's fair, don't you?
We were letting you guys. This was the more open, contentious.
James, that's not what just happened, right? So how about you let me actually respond uninterrupted?
But you guys agreed initially not to do closing statements.
James, we also agreed that if he monologued for 10 minutes and grandstanded for 10 minutes, you would stop him and we would go 30 seconds.
No, this was the minute where we went toe-to-toe.
10 minutes, and you
this was where we went toe-to-toe. If you can't handle it, you can't handle it, dude. If you can't deal with it, you can't deal with it.
He grandstanded for 10 minutes.
You guys knew that in this particular round, I was not going to jump in as much to let you guys go, and that the audience would decide if one of the debaters.
Great. That's fine, James. But I'd actually like to respond after his 10-minute monologue. Would that be all right?
How much time do we have
I'm
left?
saying that I'm open for allowing you to add closing statements, which would give you.
No, it's not closing statements, James. I'd just like to respond to the monologue, the 10-minute monologue that you said you'd interrupt.
Here's the thing: if I let you respond after the time, I do have to let Eric respond.
I don't give a fuck about that, James. Honestly, I just like to respond.
That
to
time
the
is
10-minute
up.
monologue that I was not allowed to respond.
That time is up.
Eric, I'm going to ask you to mute. I'm going to give T 1 minute, then you will get 1 minute uninterrupted. Eric as well to respond, and then we'll be done. Go ahead, T.
Go right ahead, brother.
I'll wait for Eric to mute.
He is muted. I have him muted. There'll be no interruption guaranteed for the minute. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited to, thank you for that 10-minute history lesson on the evolution of cosmology, which had nothing to do with fucking anything. Like, literally, just completely, let's just ramble about what happened and point out that I don't know where this is going. Okay, well, good job, Eric. I, too, am excited to see the death of the standard model. I'm fucking excited for it. That's all that signals. That's all that's pointing at, right? That all those models were wrong, which we knew, going into this, that they're provisional. Should have known that too, right? So I'm excited for the continuing evolution of all of that, which has nothing to do with God. And you conceded the whole thing when you said, I said, well, how did God create life? I said, I don't know. You conceded that, you have no explanatory power. You have no explanation. So I don't know what the fuck you fucking rambled for 10 minutes for about.
Right, that is your minute, so I'm going to unmute Eric. I'm going to mute you while he's speaking, and then we'll get the interruption, then we'll get the questions. Please ask your questions now. Ask your questions now in the chat so I can get them ready. T will mute it. Eric will get just a minute, and then we'll go into that. Go ahead.
Thank you, James. So, at the end of the day, every science that we can point to points back to God. Biogenesis says that life only comes from life, and we observe this. It says life brings forth after its own kind, just like the Bible tells us, and we observe this. They can't prove macroevolution is true in any case.
Sorry, I muted. Go ahead, Eric.
So you have science pointing out that God is true. There is a God. And then even our cosmology points out that there's a God. It's the dark matter and dark energy that is a mirror image of the descriptions of God in the Old Testament, where over a dozen times we have the scriptures telling us that it's God that is expanding, present tense, stretching out the universe like a curtain. Now, what is that if that's not expansion? And it's God that we're said in Colossians 1 that is holding all of creation together. And then biology teaches us that everything brings forth after its own kind. And we never see nature creating life through some sort of process of abiogenesis. Absolutely every life form you can ever point to was brought about by another living life.
That is good. We are done. Any questions in the chat? Let me see. Scrolling back. If there are no questions, let me check from the back channel. Once again, thank both debaters for coming. I know it's contentious. I hope that they got their ideas and expressions out. We'll give you a moment to put questions in.
I see a question.
Can T cite one paper on the experiment that supports abiogenesis? So T, they're looking for one paper or experiment that supports abiogenesis.
Sure, there's thousands of research papers on this, right? Because abiogenesis is a research project into how chemicals fall into lower energy states, which form more complex macromolecules, which get selected for by their environment which in turn form more complex chemical systems. So, for example, if you go to Google Scholar and you type in chemical evolution, abiogenesis, you'll get tons of papers which support this idea that chemicals fall into lower energy states, forming more complex macromolecules, leading to additionally complex, or leading to molecules systems with chemical systems which have additional features get selected for by their environment, which eventually result in these amazing autocatalytic chemical reaction machines, bags of chemicals walking around going, you know what? I think I'm more than just a bag of chemicals. It's pretty fucking incredible.
Okay, and Eric, you get quick, like 20 seconds to respond to that question for T. And if you have a question for the other debaters, go ahead and address that now.
You can point to plenty of things that we're able to do. There are certain processes of abiogenesis that we can observe. That's a fact. We can observe that, for instance, DNA is built when nucleotides form a chain. So, things like that can happen. The question is, does it ever happen completely in such a way that it results in life? And the answer is never been observed in nature, never been recreated in a laboratory under any conditions. And what I find odd is that we know exactly what all the building blocks to life are. But tell me something. Let's say you take all those building blocks and you create a cell. It's laying there dead. Well, first of all, they've never been able to do that. And second of all, even if you do, how's it going to pop to life? What are you going to do to bring it to life? They don't know. I can take you to a lecture, 45-minute panel thing with Craig Venter, Dawkins, and several other atheists on there that swear abiogenesis occurred. And yet Craig Venter was the only one sitting there saying, I don't think you're ever going to be able to create it in a lab.
All right. Eric, I let you go a little bit longer because we did not get any other questions for you guys.
Okay.
Which is fine. There was one question, I guess, to me. Do you feel both debaters won like I do? So in my debates, I do not, under any circumstances, declare a winner. I would rather not do that as a moderator. I just do my best to moderate it. So you will not be hearing me declare a winner. Do you guys have any upcoming debates or anything you would like to mention or promote before we get ready to wrap it up?
I do on JG's channel, but that's heck, I don't even know when that's going to take place, so don't worry about it.
T,
but
you have
James,
anything to say?
I do want to thank you, James. I know that this was tough, and so thank you for holding this together and seeing it through to where we did get to actually debate some of this.
Yeah, I mean, just, trying to do this with Eric is just an absolute disaster, shit show, walking dumpster fire, incredibly embarrassing.
When you have the three of us,
interrupts, won't let anyone finish, constantly talks over people, wants to grandstand for 10 fucking minutes about the evolution of cosmology. I mean, it's embarrassing.
Well, James, when we tried to
like this
pull this
right
together,
here, like where you're interrupting me right now.
When we tried to pull this together, James,
to an extreme,
he screamed like a 5-year-old and wouldn't even let me negotiate.
Alrighty,
that,
on that, I'm going to dismiss both debaters. I appreciate you guys joining. I'm going to go ahead and kick the outro. Once again, thank you all for joining. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you, James.
I go hard in the paint, yeah, homie, I'm a saint. Ride or die. Many claim they like riding, but I know that they ain't. Ride or die. I go hard in the paint, yeah, homie, I'm a saint. Ride or die.